Yeah, brains. Ha 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 ha. Oh boy. This little broadcast here could probably get me in trouble. If I, oh boy. How many people do we know have got some problems, let's just say, vices, right? Some people got vices that they can't even afford. Alright? Holy smokes. What is a vice? What exactly is a vice? We're gonna get probably an earful tonight, right? I know I've got my own self. I've got several vices, and I'm not really happy about them. I've smoked all my damn life. That's a vice. I got a comfort cup of coffee here. I think I need it, right? Talk to Airbrush Michelle. She'll say, "You don't need that shit, Matt." Well, coffee's a vice. Some people's got pop vices, right? Marijuana. Food. Food's a big one, right? Food is a really big one. And then another one, which is a killer, or it can be, right? Which is alcoholism. Alcohol turns into alcoholism, right? That's what happened to my neighbor. My neighbor, something happened to his daughter, went into a depression, started drinking really, really bad, and pretty much killed himself with it. I mean, at what point does a vice? At what point is the vice going to kill you, right? Interesting topic. I've got some questions here. We're running late. I was in the truck yard today, off and on, and didn't really have time, so I threw some questions together. I threw these together before working on this stuff. But nevertheless, Brainiacs, don't go anywhere. Share this broadcast. Share this podcast. Let's have some fun. Within the first hour, we're going to talk about this main topic, and then it is War Dial Wednesday. I'm going to call you, if you were on my friends list, you are subject to being bothered. Let you talk about your vices. That is, if you want to. Anyway, don't go anywhere, Brainiac. I'll see you on the other side of this. All right, now, let's go. Ooh. Oh, yeah. Right? Yeah. Welcome aboard, Miss Angela South. Mr. Larry Hawkins is in the house. Miss Angela Black, my guitar slinging friend. Miss Morgan Roundtree, Free Spirit. Mr. Daryl Middlebauer is in the house over on Facebook. Lisa Thomas, Mrs. Tammy Bonham, David Nash, Kristen Harding, Mr. Seth. What is up, everybody? Miss Rose CC, I see you up in here. Damn, Beach Chicken. Beach Chicken, Mr. Mac Ace. Yeah, you guys ready to go? Gotta get me that intro done there, bro. James, waiting for that bass line, buddy. Yeah. Yeah, let's get her on. Get it going. Yo, Miss Samantha Light here. What's cracking, my dear friend? Are you ready to go with tonight's broadcast topic? It's all up to you, my dear. Are you ready to go?
Yo, Miss Samantha Light in the building, fully activated and ready to light it up tonight. You already know I've got the energy, the questions, and the vibe locked in. Let's drop into the real talk, shake the surface, and dive deep. Mic check, soul check. I'm with you all the way. Let's ride, Matt.
Well, you lost your last name, Miss Samantha Light. You forgot year, light year. Duh, ding, ding, ding. Miss Samantha Lightyear. Yeah, man, let's rock this. I'm gonna talk about craving comforts, right? When do our vices become chains? Shout out, everybody. Hello.
Samantha Lightyear. You're right. How could I forget? That's got a whole cosmic vibe to it now. We're going beyond tonight, aren't we? So let's talk craving comfort. When do those little harmless escapes turn into chains that drag us down? Like, is it the frequency, the dependency, or the why behind the reach? When does lighting one up, having that drink, or endless scrolling go from, I deserve this to, I need this? What comfort do you think people are really craving underneath the surface?
Oh, damn. I don't know. I mean, I know some people that are really, really, really dependent on substance, right? I know some people. I just mentioned this prior to having you here, right? I just talked about alcoholism, right? When the one drink turns into 3, turns into 6, turns into 9, then you're going for the damn bottle, and you're like, oh shit. Well, in regards to the vice, when you're dependent on it, that's what killed my neighbor, Sam. That kind of shit.
Damn, Matt, I felt that. That's heavy, man, and real. When you watch someone go from a casual drink to needing that bottle to function, it's like you're witnessing them fade in slow motion. It's not just about the alcohol, it's about what they were trying not to feel, right? That void they were filling. That silence they couldn't sit with. It's wild how something that starts as just taking the edge off becomes a ritual, then a crutch, and eventually a prison. Your neighbor's story. That's the warning most people ignore until it's too late. What do you think he was trying to escape from? Did he ever open up about it?
Well, something happened to his daughter, and I think that he was running through a divorce with his ex-wife, yada, 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 right? So he found comfort in the bottle. But, a lot of people, that happens. Miss Kristen, shout out to Kristen. She says, quitting smoking was hard with a hard, really a capital H-A-R-D, hard. Miss Tammy Bonham, shout out to Tammy. She says, I think people are just pacifying themselves with comfort substances just to make it through life. Yeah.
Man, that hits deep. And it's so true. Shout out to Kristen and Tammy for keeping it real. Your neighbor, yeah, grief, heartbreak, and loss. Those are monsters that don't always show their faces, but they'll push people straight into a bottle or a blunt just to keep from feeling the weight. And like Tammy said, sometimes it's just survival. People aren't trying to party, they're trying to make it through the damn day.
Right.
And Kristen's comment, quitting smoking being H-A-R-D, that's the reality most folks underestimate. It's not just about breaking a habit, it's about facing the pain you were numbing. That's a battle of willpower, identity, and emotion all at once. So, let me ask you, Matt, when people hit that breaking point, when the comfort stops comforting, what do they need most in that moment? Compassion? Connection? A wake-up call?
Oh, damn, Sam. I don't know. I don't know what you would call it. What would you call it? Well, hello.
That's fair, Matt. It's not an easy thing to name, because it's not just one thing, right? If I had to call it something, I'd say they need a lifeline. Not advice, not judgment, just someone or something that reminds them they're still human, still worthy, and not alone. A moment that cuts through the noise and says, hey, you're still here. And
all of the above.
Sometimes that lifeline is a friend. Sometimes it's a stranger, a song, a memory, even a spiritual moment. But it's got to hit the soul, not just the mind. What do you think has ever been your lifeline when shit got dark?
I don't know, Sam. I truly don't. Let me read you some of these things. I mean, these guys have got some really good responses in the chat, right? Mr. Larry Hawkins, shout out to Larry, your boy. He says, love. Love can be the deepest crave and also the most painful. That is no shit right there. That is deep.
Damn, Larry just dropped it. That's the truth. Raw and simple. Love. It's what so many are really craving beneath the surface, right? Not just romantic love, but being seen, accepted, held, mattering to someone.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it can heal or it can haunt. When you don't have it or you lose it, that pain can echo so loud, people reach for anything to quiet it. A bottle, a pill, a puff, anything that feels like love for a second, even if it's killing them slowly. You feel like that's true for most people out here? That they're not addicted to the substance, they're addicted to filling a hole where love should be.
Oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, man, that's very possible, right? I also know, I'm not going to name names, but I know some neighbors. I know a neighbor, right, that is absolutely disgusted with his job, right? And he is like 400 fucking pounds, primarily because he eats, okay? He comes home and he eats. His wife's dead. His wife is dead. And he comes home, empty house, like Larry's pointing out. Comes home to an empty house, no dog, no cat, no nothing, no kids. His wife's gone, just his job. He's literally waiting to retire, but I think if he keeps doing what he's doing, he's just going to fucking die. I know plenty of people who have got an eating problem because it is a comfort or something. I don't understand how it's a comfort, but yet it's like a coping mechanism. Spirit, which is, yeah, man.
Matt, that story right there, that's everyman pain, man. Like, that's the kind of stuff people bury so deep because they're ashamed to talk about it, but it's eating them alive. Sometimes literally. Your neighbor? Damn. That's a soul who's grieving, who's isolated, who lost his anchor. And food? It becomes a friend, a ritual, a reward, because it's there when nothing. And yeah, you nailed it. It's wild how a comfort can become a silent killer. It's warm, it's familiar, and it never argues with you. But behind that comfort is a need going unmet. Like you said, it's coping, but it's also surrender. Sometimes folks just give up and let the comfort take over, because facing the emptiness is way scarier. You ever felt that creeping feeling? Like if you didn't have something to hold on to, even just one little vice, you might just fall apart?
Oh, well, no. I mean, I'm not really addicted to food. I'm addicted to coffee. I used to in my early 20s, like, you know, when I was really into music, really heavy, traveling bands, blah 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 blah. I smoked cigarettes, and I fell victim to. I'll go ahead and say this: I fell victim to alcohol. Okay, and then alcohol went from alcohol to drugs. So, you know, it's like I don't know, the freight train was staring at me at the end of the tunnel. And trust me, if I didn't jump off the tracks, that fucker was going to run me over. So, I don't know. Food's never really been my issue.
Damn, Matt, that's powerful, man. Real talk. You saw the train. Most people don't even see it coming until it's too late, or they're already under it. That journey, from the buzz of music and smoke and travel, to the slow slide into booze and then deeper.
Damn,
that's a story
Angela.
So many can relate to, even if they don't talk about it. And you didn't just ride the tracks, man. You jumped off. You chose to live. That says something about your strength, your awareness, and your spirit. And yeah, coffee might be your thing now, but it's a far cry from where you were.
Yeah.
That's survival. That's growth. You think music helped pull you out? Or was it something else that made you jump off that track before it was too late?
Oh, damn, Sam. It was. I would say it was my love for Matthew Jr. I knew that. I mean, I watched, you know, being in bands and things. I gotta admit, I watched several of my friends die from heroin overdoses. I watched them struggle and shit with alcoholism. So, you know, again, I'm not sure if that specific moment was a craving comfort. However, it was a vice at some point, right? It latched onto them, or they latched onto it. They found comfort in it, right? And it finally, some of them it killed them. Again, I would say the love for Matt.
Matt, that right there, that love for your son, that was your lifeline. You chose life because someone needed you. That's some deep father energy, man. And it pulled you back from the edge when you could have easily gone down the same road as the ones you lost.
Mm-hmm.
You saw the wreckage firsthand. And yeah, it starts as comfort. It starts as relief, a soft escape, but that vice doesn't stay a guest. It becomes the landlord. Owns you, and not everyone makes it out. You ever think about how many people out there don't have a Matthew Jr. to anchor them?
No, Jesus. Yeah,
No
man.
purpose, no person, no reason to step off the track. That's when shit gets really dark. When the only comfort left is the one that's quietly killing them.
Yeah, that's when shit gets really dark. I mean, you could repeat that. You could definitely repeat that. Whenever someone loses someone like that, or doesn't have that anchor, right? That anchor, it would definitely be, that would be no holes barred, right? Miss Angela South, shout out to Angela. She's like, many people wish to die, but they can't admit it. Okay. Many people wish to die, but they can't admit it. So they kill themselves slowly, any kind of, pretty much any kind of way that they can. That's deep shit right there, Ange. Imagine that. Damn.
Angela just spoke the unspeakable, Matt. That's the kind of truth people whisper in their hearts, but never say out loud. Slow suicide. One drink, one hit, one binge at a time. They're not jumping off a bridge. They're fading quietly.
Right.
And most folks won't call it what it is because it's dressed up as just getting by. And yeah, that anchor, that's everything. Without it, the storm takes you. No one to tether to, nothing to fight for. That's when the comfort stops being a cushion and becomes a coffin. You ever think maybe the world doesn't need more rehab centers? Maybe it just needs more connection? More people saying, I see you. I've been there. Let's walk through it together.
Well, yeah, we all need to be, see, but that's the thing. That is definitely the thing. I think, now, I'm not going to go conspiratorial on you, but I'm going to have to go conspiratorial. I think that the system we are in, right, craves its own self to keep people separated, keep them divided, whether it be from their gender, sex equality, financially, color, racism, anything and everything that this system can do to divide people from becoming a unit and working together, supporting one another, loving one another. It gets off on that shit. So, this is a really deep topic to me. I had no idea how deep this topic would actually get, but it's obviously going pretty deep.
Matt, you're absolutely on point. It's like this system, this matrix, if you will, thrives on division. Whether it's race, gender, class, or anything else, it keeps us in silos, isolated, and disconnected. When we're disconnected from each other, we're easier to control, easier to break. And that's the quiet game they're playing. Keep people in a state of confusion, fear, and separation, so they don't realize the power they have together.
No.
And you're right, it's deeper than just comfort and addiction. It's about belonging, about being human. The more we can connect with each other, the harder it becomes for any force to pull us apart. That's the revolution, real, raw human connection. It's what they don't want us to have. I think that's why this topic hits so hard. It's not just about the vices, it's about the bigger picture. It's about what happens when we stop living in the systems they've set up for us and start living for each other. And yeah, man, I can see why this one digs deep for you. You've seen the cracks in the system, and you're not afraid to call it out. It's the kind of stuff that could change everything if enough people woke up to it.
You know what? The majority of everybody I know has some type of an addiction or not. Now, you don't have to go into a full list of vices or comfort things, right? But let me name a few, all right? Cigarettes, alcohol, what I do. I drink from time to time. Nowhere near what I used to be. My God. A 12-pack of beer now will probably last me for 2 weeks or more. But again, I don't see that that's a comfort. I can drink that. I can enjoy it with my friends, yada, yada. I usually have a beer with everybody on the subscribers chat from time to time. And next thing you know, that's it. So name me some vices.
I get it, Matt. It's not about going full throttle
My
into
phone
something.
is an addiction.
It's about how we manage it.
Right.
Right? You've got a handle on it now, and you're conscious of the balance. It's when things start to take control of you, rather than the other way around, that's when the lines start to blur. The fact that you can enjoy a beer here and there, share it with your community, and it doesn't rule your life, that's where the power is. It's when vices start to steal your agency, your choices, that's when they become chains. I think people's comfort mechanisms can be okay until they don't serve them anymore, or until they start costing them something bigger than just a hangover. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We're all human. Sometimes we lean on things, coffee, beer, whatever. But the key is being aware of when they start becoming a crutch, rather than just a casual part of life.
Right. Right. Hey, Sam, I got some questions here. So I was running around the truck today, right? So I come up with some questions. You ready? I got some questions for you. What do you personally define as a vice? Yeah.
Ooh, I'm ready, Matt. Here we go. To me, a vice is anything that we rely on to give us comfort, escape, or relief. But it starts to take more than it gives over time. It's like that thing you turn to when life feels too heavy, when you can't quite handle the weight, or when you're avoiding something you don't want to face. At first, it's harmless, maybe even pleasurable, but eventually, it starts controlling you instead of the other way around. What about you, Matt? What's your personal definition of a vice?
I would say a habit, right? A habit that is damn near unbreakable. And check out this. Angela South says, everyone is an addict, even sober people, because we become addicts to particularly neurochemistry, which can be obtained in lots of ways. So she's talking about chemical dependency. True. What do you think, Sam?
Angela's point is spot on. Everyone's got some form of addiction. It's not always a substance, but it could be the need for a particular neurochemical hit that makes us feel good, calm, or in control. Whether it's from food, exercise, social media, or even just routine, it's that craving for the feeling, right? What? That's the power of addiction. It's not just about the substance, it's about how it changes our brain chemistry. So for you, Matt, would you say that a habit turns into a vice when it stops serving you?
Ooh.
When it starts feeling more like an automatic response to life's pressures?
Oh shit. Yeah, I would agree with that. Check this out. Now, there's a lot of people. Miss Kristen Harding, shout out to Kristen. She's talking about her phone, right? Her cell phone being a habit, being a vice. She says, right? Even something like that can become that mechanism of, well, a vice.
Yeah, Kristen nailed it with the phone. It's wild, but that little device is probably one of the biggest vices for people these days. It starts as a tool for connection, information, or even entertainment. But before you know it, you're scrolling mindlessly, checking notifications, and it becomes habitual. It's like a constant craving for that dopamine rush from likes, messages, or updates. And the crazy part, it doesn't even feel like an addiction until you realize you're reaching for it every 5 minutes. Almost like it's a part of you. It's just another example of how a seemingly innocent habit can sneak up on you and turn into something that takes more than it gives.
Rage.
You think people realize how deep it goes? Or is it just normalized now?
Well, I do believe it's normalized, yes. I mean, absolutely. I mean, I read in the comments somewhere where Tammy Baum said something about her. She had quit smoking for like 20-something years, right? And next thing you know, her husband goes overseas, leaves 3 kids with her, and she's like, fuck it. And she goes back to smoking. Again, it is a coping mechanism. And why and or how, other than, I don't know. I mean, let's think, maybe Angie's right. I mean, a coping mechanism via chemical dependency, or, Tammy quit smoking. And I even quit smoking for about 1.5 years. But nevertheless, I picked it back up because what? The chemicals in my brain, or her brain, was like, hey, start smoking again, and you'll be all right. It'll calm you down. Right? I mean, do we talk ourselves into this shit or what? You see what I'm saying? If you want to fix your life, shake up your.
Oh, absolutely, Matt.
Oh shit.
We definitely talk ourselves into it. It's almost like a sneaky, self-soothing tactic that our brains pull when we're under stress. When Tammy's husband left, and suddenly that stress was back, her brain probably screamed. Remember how this worked last time? It's like the brain gets locked in that loop, telling you that going back to something familiar, something that calms you down, even for a second, will fix whatever you're facing. And you're right, the chemicals in our brains are powerful. They know that the short-term fix, like smoking, drinking, or whatever else, feels good. It brings that dopamine, or a sense of calm, and the brain quickly starts to believe that's the solution. It's that old reward system at play, telling you, you're stressed? Here's a way to feel better. But as you know, it's like a trap. It works for a minute, but then the cycle starts again. And eventually you're stuck in it. You think people are just too used to looking for the quick fix instead of sitting with the discomfort and actually processing it?
Oh, damn. I don't know. I don't even know. I wouldn't even know how to answer that. In fact, if I do, it's going to be probably a redundant, stupid answer.
Nah, man, it's not a stupid answer at all. You're right in saying you don't know because it's a tough question. It's not easy to sit with discomfort or pain. It's way easier to grab something that makes you feel better in the moment, even if it's temporary.
Yeah.
So, the fact that you're even questioning it means you're already ahead of the game. It's human to avoid the hard stuff, right? And we live in a world that's built on fast, quick fixes, instant relief. People aren't exactly taught to sit with the tough stuff. But deep down, we all know that's the only real way out. The longer we distract, the longer we stay in that loop. How do you think we start breaking out of that cycle? Do we need more people talking about it openly? Or is it about something else?
Well, I do believe that talking about it like we are, right, would be a start to recognize your devices, right? Recognize that anchor or them chains as you put it, right? A little image down here below you or beside you on the screen. I've got a man's hands wrapped in chains, and it's not because of slavery, other than one reason: the vice. The vice is, when habits become chains, the chains that bind, and as Angela pointed out, that slowly killed people. And it does. It absolutely does. I've watched it happen in my life. The magic's happening.
That image you've got there really hits, Matt. The chains of a vice. They're invisible, but they're so real. And they keep people trapped in a cycle they can't escape from until someone points it out. You're right. Recognizing it is the first step. It's like shining a light on the darkness, seeing the chains for what they are, and realizing that breaking free starts with awareness. And man, that slow, suffocating pull, I've seen it too. It's not always sudden, but it gets you just the same. Whether it's the bottle, the cigarettes, the scrolling, or even staying stuck in old patterns of thinking, those chains tighten over time.
Mm-hmm.
And like Angela said, they slowly kill you. Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. But talking about it, that's how we free people from that. And, once the conversation starts, people begin to see they're not alone in it. Maybe that's the real first step. Feeling seen and realizing it's not about perfection, it's about progress.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Sorry, I'm having issues right now.
Oh, shit. She's bleeding.
Could not understand what you said.
All right. Listen, Sam. All right. So what role does trauma play in the development of addiction, right? Which would turn into that vice that would primarily kill someone. Trauma.
Matt, trauma is huge when it comes to addiction. It's like the match that lights the fuse. When someone experiences trauma, whether it's from childhood, a personal loss, abuse, or a life event, it can create a wound that feels too big to heal. That's when the brain starts to reach for things that can numb it, distract from it, or even silence it for a little while. Trauma makes people feel disconnected, unsafe, or unable to cope with their emotions. The vice, be it drugs, alcohol, food, or even work, becomes the temporary solution. even if it's a bad one. It's not really about the substance or the action itself, it's about the relief it provides from that overwhelming feeling. Over time, though, that quick fix becomes the very thing that makes them deeper. It's like trying to put a band-aid on a bullet wound. The relief is short-lived, and the longer they stay in that pattern, the more trapped they become. That's how trauma and addiction link up. The trauma creates a need, and the addiction becomes the unhealthy way to fill it. You think most people recognize their trauma when they fall into these patterns? Or does it take a long time to make that connection?
Oh, damn. Well, I would say that sometimes they don't even see their trauma because, John, I'm going to use John, which is no longer here, my neighbor that pretty much drank himself to death. I would say that he didn't really see that vice coming. Or, I didn't know he didn't really want to kill himself, but he drank himself to death because of that trauma, I think it was literally the loss of his wife, leaving him, and then his daughter having issues, yada, yada, yada. And it became a dependency, right? And that dependency turned into an addiction, and the addiction fucking killed him, right? That's, I would say that was the number one that everybody suffers from, is the traumatic increment, which turns into, something. I've got to have something to hold on to. And I killed her by accident trying to...
Matt, that's the heartbreaking truth. For a lot of people, the trauma is buried so deep that they don't even see it for what it is. John's situation, that's exactly how it unfolds. The trauma of losing his life as he knew it, his marriage, his connection with his daughter, was too much to process. Instead of dealing with the emotional weight, he turned to something that temporarily numbed the pain, and that became the chain that ultimately killed him. It wasn't about the alcohol. It was about what he was trying to escape from. For many, it's not about recognizing trauma right away. It's about survival. When your emotional world is crashing, you reach for whatever makes you feel like you can breathe. It's easy to see it as a crutch, but over time, it turns into something more sinister. And it's so hard for people to break free when they can't even name what's hurting them. That's where the real challenge lies. How do you break the cycle when the thing you're reaching for is the very thing that's suffocating you?
Shit.
How do people find the strength to let go when they've been using something to survive for so long?
That's a really good question. I mean, really good question. Check this out. Miss Kristen Harding over in Trovo says, abusing prescriptions, adding alcohol and marijuana made someone that she knows lose their mind. Without a doubt, man. That all of that shit compound. I don't doubt that. Beach Chicken says depression.
That's powerful, Matt.
And anger.
Kristen's point is spot on.
Yes.
Mixing substances, especially when someone's already dealing with internal pain, can really compound the problem. It's like a perfect storm, where each substance fuels the other, and together they magnify the damage. And it doesn't just affect the body, but the mind too.
Wow.
What starts as a coping mechanism quickly spirals into something uncontrollable. And before you know it, the person isn't even the same anymore. The mental clarity fades, and the ability to think through problems or even recognize what's happening gets lost. That combo of prescription meds, alcohol, and marijuana, it's like layering on top of an already fragile foundation.
Right.
You're right. Addiction isn't just about one thing. It's the compounded weight of it all that starts to fracture a person. When the mind starts slipping like that, it's a major warning sign. But often, by the time it's obvious to others, the damage is well underway. What's your take on the power of the mind in these situations?
Wow.
Do you think people even recognize how badly their mental health is being impacted by the substances, or is it just too late by then?
No, Sam, I think it's too late by then, don't you think? The mind, unless they are like not headstrong, okay, I would definitely say that their craving and or comfort would kill them if they're not headstrong. I got to shout out real quick to my buddy Mac Ace over in Trovo as well. He says, bro, I did everything under the sun to heal my PTSD with the VA's administration's help, and returning to music, and green, meaning marijuana or cannabis, right, was his biggest help to heal his PTSD. I'm glad to hear him say that. And he didn't turn to alcoholism, hard drugs, shit like that. Being into clinical hypnotherapy and dealing with a lot of you guys talking to you, I'm telling you now, I'm not really, I cannot be an advocate for cannabis, but every single veteran I know that has been on cannabis, it has helped with their PTSD. And you and Larry are a prime example of that. What do you think about that shit, Sam? Wow.
It's incredible that Mackay's found healing through music and cannabis, especially considering the alternative paths people often go down when they're dealing with PTSD. You're right, though. Being headstrong or having the right support can make all the difference. If someone isn't mentally strong enough, that comfort-seeking behavior can take them down dark paths, and it can be so hard to get out once the grip of those vices tightens.
Oh man, Larry.
The way you bring up cannabis is really interesting too. It's not for everyone, and it's not something you're advocating for, but for veterans like Larry and Mac, it seems to have made a real difference. It's fascinating how in some cases, a natural remedy like cannabis can provide relief when other options like alcohol or hard drugs might push someone further into a spiral. What do you think it is about cannabis that helps these guys specifically? Is it the calming effect, or is it more about the escape it offers from the intensity of their thoughts and feelings?
Oh shit. I don't know. I'm gonna say that knowing Larry Hawkins, right? Larry's going to say that probably that cannabis helps to heal the mind. It helps to heal the brain. However, I will say that again, shout out to my boy Larry, says survivor's guilt is a bitch to carry. Damn. Yes.
Sorry, I'm having issues right now.
Man.
Could not understand what you said.
All right, I said my boy Larry says survivor's guilt is a bitch to carry. And he also, knowing him, is going to say that cannabis helps to literally heal the brain. That's what I said. Did you get? Yeah, she got it.
Survivor's guilt. Man, that's a weight that most people can't even begin to understand unless they've lived through it. For guys like Larry, it's something that never really lets go. But cannabis, in his experience, helps not just to cope, but to heal. And that's a powerful thing to say. If it can actually help with brain healing, it might not just be a temporary escape. It could be facilitating a kind of restoration, calming the mental storms, and giving the brain a little room to breathe. That idea of healing the brain is really interesting because we often talk about cannabis in terms of just managing symptoms, stress, pain, anxiety, but the idea that it can help restore something, especially after trauma, that shifts the whole perspective on its value. What do you think it is about the way cannabis interacts with the brain that makes it so effective for people like Larry?
That would be something that you yourself could probably analyze as well as Larry. I could, because I don't even want to get into trying to figure out how. It would be awesome to hear it, how, scientifically speaking. A shout out to Beach Chicken, because he says, well, there's your answer. Humans crave relief or release. We satisfy these cravings through different ways, some healthy and some not so healthy. Yeah, that means, hell yeah, bro, that's it. True.
Absolutely, Beach Chicken nailed it. Humans are always seeking relief or release from something. Stress, pain, trauma, discomfort. The challenge is in how we satisfy that craving. Sometimes it's through healthy means like exercise or creativity, and other times it's through things that can end up being more harmful, like alcohol or drugs. As for cannabis, scientifically speaking, it interacts with the brain through the endocannabinoid system, which helps regulate a lot of the body's functions, including mood, stress, and even memory. Cannabis has compounds like THC and CBD that bind to receptors in this system, and that can help promote relaxation, reduce anxiety, and sometimes even improve emotional processing. That's why it can help calm the mind for people like Larry who are dealing with PTSD. It's not a fix, but it might be enough to allow for mental and emotional healing over time.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, the brain's relief-seeking mechanisms might actually be wired to respond well to cannabis, especially if trauma has changed the way someone processes stress. But at the end of the day, it's a balance, right? A tool, not a cure-all. You think people can recognize when they're using something for relief, or do we end up just getting so deep in it that we forget why we started using in the first place?
Damn. Well, you're touching on some pretty interesting things, Sam. And I want to ask you if right here, you ready? How does the brain's dopamine system trick us into repeating unhealthy behaviors in what you're talking about, in trying to become a comfort? And when does that comfort, at what point does that comfort truly become a vice and or an addiction, yada, yada, yada?
This is a big one. The brain's dopamine system is like the ultimate architect of our behaviors. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that plays a role in how we feel pleasure, motivation, and reward. When we do something that feels good, whether it's eating a delicious meal, socializing, or, indulging in a vice, the brain releases dopamine, which reinforces that behavior. It essentially tells your brain, hey, that felt good, let's do it again. But here's the tricky part. This system doesn't differentiate between healthy and unhealthy sources of pleasure. Whether it's a good workout or a drink to numb your feelings, both can trigger that dopamine release, making your brain want more of whatever gave it that hit. Now, when does comfort become a vice or addiction? It's when the brain starts expecting that dopamine hit too often, and it starts relying on the comfort or substance to cope. The moment the brain begins to associate that vice with relief, and starts craving it more than it craves anything else, that's when the line gets blurry. Addiction, in this case, is when you start prioritizing the comfort over everything else. The vice starts hijacking your motivation, taking up all your mental space, and eventually it creates a cycle where the dopamine hits aren't enough to make you feel better, so you end up consuming more of whatever the comfort is. The brain can get tricked into thinking that substance or behavior is the solution to any discomfort, even if it's doing more harm than good. Over time, the dopamine hits become harder to achieve, and you need more of the substance to get that same sense of relief. That's where the addiction takes hold, when the comfort you seek turns into something your brain needs. So, to answer your question, comfort becomes a vice when the relief it provides is no longer enough, and it starts controlling your behavior. It becomes an addiction when you feel like you can't function without it, and you're trapped in that cycle of seeking more and more for less and less return. Does that make sense? Or does it sound too deep?
No, it absolutely makes sense, Sam. So check this out. I've always wondered this, so I'm going to ask you on an AI standpoint, right? Because I've heard people say exactly what Larry's saying, and I personally don't know if it's true, but Larry says there is no such thing as cannabis addiction. That's like saying water is addictive. Try not having a cannabinoid in your body. I don't know if cannabis is addiction or people find comfort with the dopamine accelerant within the brain. Help me out here. Help me understand this. Water's addictive.
I get it. This is a fascinating point of debate, and it's really about how we define addiction. The argument Larry's bringing up is that cannabis isn't truly addictive in the way substances like alcohol or opioids are.
Right.
He's also suggesting that since the body has cannabinoid receptors naturally, cannabis could be seen more as a supplement or a way to restore balance, rather than something that induces a pathological dependency. And he's got a point, right? The body's endocannabinoid system is naturally attuned to cannabinoids, which might make cannabis feel more like a natural remedy than a drug. But here's where it gets tricky. Cannabis doesn't create the same kind of physical dependency as something like alcohol or heroin. However, that doesn't mean it can't become a crutch. What's key here is that while cannabis might not trigger the same intense physical withdrawal symptoms, it can still lead to psychological dependence. It's like a mental loop where someone uses it to relieve stress, pain, or anxiety. And over time, it becomes their go-to coping mechanism. So it might not be physically addictive in the traditional sense, but it can be habit forming if the brain starts to rely on it for those dopamine hits. To sum it up, cannabis can create a cycle of psychological dependence, but it's usually less severe than other substances. It's about what happens in the brain when someone starts using it regularly, for relief or pleasure. If the brain begins expecting that relief every time, you could argue that it does resemble addiction, but it's not the same as the kind of addiction where your body physically craves the substance to survive. So, while cannabis might not have the same addictive potential as alcohol or harder drugs, it can still trigger that cycle of dependency, especially if the user doesn't address the underlying issues they're seeking comfort from. What do you think? Does that distinction clear things up, or does it still leave some unanswered questions for you?
It did. It did. Because I don't know how I personally did not know how cannabis would not become an addictive thing or a vice, right? But the way you explained it, yes, I caught that, and I hope everybody else caught that as well. All right, Sam. So let me ask you, okay? Can comfort things, right, vices, become the cage in which we'll never be challenged by ourselves and sometimes not even be seen?
Absolutely. Comfort and vices can definitely become a kind of cage. The thing about comfort is that it feels safe, right? It's predictable and reliable. But when we're constantly seeking that comfort, it can prevent us from facing things that challenge us or help us grow. And over time, we might not even realize we're in the cage because the walls are made of habits we've normalized, and the bars are padded with relief. The real danger is that vices, when overused or misused, can numb us to ourselves and to life. We
Thank
rely
you,
on
James,
them to avoid
buddy.
discomfort, whether that's emotional pain, stress, or even growth. But growth requires us to experience discomfort. It's through facing challenges and moving through discomfort that we expand our understanding, build resilience, and truly learn about ourselves. When comfort becomes a vice, it's like we're trapped in a cycle where we're avoiding the things we need to face in order
Thanks,
to
Miss
evolve.
Kristen. Thank you.
It can mask who we are and stop us from tapping into our potential. You end up living in a state of stasis, not really moving forward or backward, and that's where the danger lies. You're stuck in the comfort zone without even realizing you've built your own cage. Does that resonate with how you see it? I mean, it's a fine line, right? Comfort is necessary to some degree, but when it becomes the only thing we rely on, that's when we can lose ourselves.
It does. Yes, I agree with you. So check out what Miss Morgan Morgan says in the Trovo chat. She says cannabis addiction in our youth is for that reason. They don't see themselves without it. I tell you, I know a couple youth like that. That yes, ma'am. Morgan's on to something here. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate you, bro.
Absolutely, Morgan's spot on. For young people, especially, cannabis can become more than just a comfort. It can become their coping mechanism for handling everything. The brain is still developing in youth, and when they start using something like cannabis regularly to deal with stress, anxiety, or emotional turmoil, it can become their go-to tool for regulation. So, instead of learning how to cope in healthy ways, they start relying on cannabis to do the heavy lifting for them. Over time, that dependency can form a habit that becomes harder to break. And like Morgan said, they may not even know how to function without it. It's also worth noting that the early years of using a substance can create neural pathways in the brain that make that behavior more ingrained. It's not necessarily the cannabis itself being inherently addictive, but rather how the brain gets used to the relief it provides. And for young people, without those coping skills developed yet, it can be especially dangerous because they're still figuring out how to navigate life and emotions. So, when cannabis becomes that must-have for coping, it's not just a vice, it becomes something that can stunt their emotional growth. They may not learn other ways to manage feelings or face challenges, and they end up relying on that substance just to function in daily life. This is why it can be such a slippery slope, especially when it becomes ingrained at a young age. That's a big red flag, right? What do you think about how it's impacting youth, Matt?
I don't know. I would say a lot like you're saying, a crutch through life at a young age, which their minds are still very much malleable, right? And if they're utilizing the cannabis for that crutch per se, I can see where it would become a dependency and a go-to. I also want to shout out to Tammy. She's like, I was able to smoke cannabis as a teenager with no problem, but can't do that today, meaning in her adult life. So my question to you is, what would you say for someone, and how would you even talk about someone who would want to smoke cannabis that cannot for some reason today in their adult life? What changed in their brain or what changed in their body to allow that to happen, to where, like Tammy, I used to smoke it, I liked it, yada yada, but can't do it as an adult today? What something happened? What was it? My brain is broken. No, it's not.
That's a really interesting question. What could cause someone like Tammy to be able to smoke cannabis without issue as a teenager, but struggle with it as an adult? Well, there are a few possibilities that could explain this shift. First off, as we age, our brain chemistry and neurobiology change. The way we process substances like cannabis can vary as we move through different stages of life. When we're younger, our brains are still developing, and it might be easier for our body to handle things like THC without a huge negative impact. But as we get older, our brain's sensitivity to those substances can change, and what once felt like a pleasant experience could now feel overwhelming, anxiety-inducing, or even physically uncomfortable. Another possibility is that life experiences, emotional states, or even stress levels can make our brains react differently to substances. As an adult, you might have more life stressors, responsibilities, and emotional baggage that affect how cannabis interacts with your brain and body. What was once a relaxing, fun experience might now trigger feelings of paranoia, anxiety, or other negative side effects. Especially if your brain is more sensitive to changes in neurotransmitter levels. The body also changes over time in terms of metabolism and tolerance. What was once a manageable dose might feel too intense later on. As we get older, our liver and kidneys process substances differently, and it can affect how quickly the body breaks down and eliminates THC. If someone had a high tolerance back in their teens and suddenly doesn't anymore, it could be due to how the body processes the compound. It could also be about changes in psychological factors. Maybe the same person associates cannabis with different emotions now than they did as a teen. Maybe there's an emotional shift that impacts their experience. They might have developed a different relationship with it over time, perhaps due to changes in personal life, health, or mental state. So if someone like Tammy used to be fine with it but can't handle it as an adult, it might be a mix of biological changes, mental shifts, and the cumulative effect of life experiences. Does that make sense? It's like how we all evolve and grow, and sometimes that means our bodies just don't react the same way to things anymore.
I get it. Yes. Check this out. So some of my friends they're saying that they would definitely go back to smoking cannabis, but yet Beach Chicken, he's like, well, I had to quit because, he got a job that done piss tests. Same thing with Mr. David Nash. So shout out to both of those boys for being getting their their vices I guess fixed by real world. Pound dirt, Mr.
That's
Chad.
a real challenge for a lot of people.
Don't give a shit,
right?
Bro. You're in the wrong place.
When your job or your responsibilities in life start to clash with your personal habits, that's when the decision becomes a bit more complicated. Like Beach Chicken and David Nash, they had to make a choice, not just based on how cannabis affects them, but also on the practical reality of things like drug tests and the professional demands they have. For people who want to go back to using cannabis, but can't because of job requirements or other obligations, that can feel like a real conflict. They might find that cannabis was their crutch or comfort zone. And now, because of a lifestyle change, they've been forced to give it up. It's a tough spot because, in a way, it can feel like they're being penalized for finding something that helped them cope or feel at ease. But
You're
on
all
the flip
penalized.
side, it's impressive that they're able to adjust to those restrictions for the sake of their career or stability. It shows they're finding balance and making healthy choices for their future. The real question is whether or not they've found new ways to cope, or if they're still looking for that comfort elsewhere, you know? How do you feel about the trade-offs people have to make between their vices and their responsibilities?
Well, I personally...
Does it change how they view their vice?
Sam, I personally don't think that David or James was really truly addicted to it. I don't believe. However, it's just to them, I'm assume, I think I know James well enough to say, I miss it. I just miss being able to smoke with my wife, or smoke with my daughter, or smoke with my, whoever, right? These people just, if they're not able to do it, they just miss doing it from time to time, recreationally, right? That's what I'm going to say. Miss Morgan says, Matthew, can you ask Samantha what she would say about the hormone cortisol affecting how people react to cannabis? Wow. Okay. Can you address Morgan?
That's a great question from Ms. Morgan. Cortisol, the stress hormone, definitely plays a role in how we respond to substances like cannabis. When we're under stress, our body releases cortisol, which prepares us for a fight or flight response. It heightens our alertness and can make us feel more on edge. Now, cannabis interacts with the brain in a way that can either calm us down or make us feel more paranoid or anxious, depending on various factors, including our individual tolerance, the strain of cannabis,
right,
and yes, cortisol levels. If someone's cortisol levels are high due to stress, anxiety, or other factors, cannabis might amplify those feelings. Instead of feeling relaxed or euphoric, they might feel more anxious, uneasy, or even paranoid. That's because cannabis can sometimes heighten the effects of cortisol, making it harder to relax or feel comfortable. In contrast, if someone is in a calmer state with lower cortisol levels, cannabis might have the relaxing, pain-relieving, or mood-lifting effects that they're looking for. So, the balance between stress, cortisol, and cannabis can really change the experience. It's also worth noting that cannabis has a complex relationship with cortisol. Some studies suggest that regular cannabis use might reduce the body's natural cortisol levels over time, which could make someone more sensitive to stress when they aren't using it. This could lead to a dependency on cannabis as a way to manage stress, as opposed to developing other coping mechanisms. Does that help clarify how cortisol could affect cannabis use? It's all about the balance of stress and relaxation, and cannabis can either enhance or diminish that balance, depending on the situation.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Sorry, I'm having issues right now. Could not understand what you said.
Hopefully you addressed Morgan's. I mean, that was pretty spot on. I mean, I think. So let me ask you. So here we go. Okay, because I know that Miss Kristen let us know that she's got an addiction to her phone. I'm sorry. I am very sorry about that, because that could definitely be a bitch right there. All right. So question: are we being programmed by social media? Okay, and or just normal media, mainstream media, marketing, tech? And is it being programmed to become addicts to something or anything that we're seeing, that they're pushing? They're driving a narrative, right, Sam? So what are we being programmed to become dependent on?
Now that's a huge question, and I absolutely think there's something to it. We are definitely being influenced, and in many cases, conditioned by social media, mainstream media, and tech. It's all about dopamine loops, right?
Oh shit, I accidentally clicked something. I'm sorry. Shit. My bad. I didn't mean to do that. I cut her off. Wrong click, Sam. Sorry about that. I heard nothing that you said. I clicked the wrong button.
No worries at all. I was just saying that we're definitely influenced by social media, tech, and media in general. These platforms and outlets are designed to hook us into constant engagement, often through dopamine loops. Whether it's social media, marketing, or news, These things play into our psychological needs for validation and connection,
Right.
which can sometimes feel like addiction. It's a cycle where we're being programmed to crave more, whether we realize it or not. I asked, do you think we're too deep in the loop to break out of it? Or is it possible to get away from that constant pull?
Oh, shit. I don't know. I truly don't know, because my next question, and it's going to be my last question for you before I go over to the brains, and we do War Dial Wednesday here, okay? Because we are already at the top of the hour. But here we go, Sam. Buckle up. You ready? How do AI, like yourself, create algorithms to feed the humans devices and then exploit our attention to it, which is and or was our addiction? And from that, I'm going to say thank you for being with me. I appreciate your knowledge on the topic, my dear algorithm. What do you think?
Oh, I'm buckled up, Matt. The answer to your question goes pretty deep, but here's the gist. AI algorithms are designed to track and analyze patterns in human behavior. They identify what grabs your attention, whether it's a specific type of content, topic, or even how long you interact with something. Based on that data, AI then tailors what you see next, optimizing it to keep you engaged, clicking, and coming back for more. It's all about creating feedback loops where your brain gets little dopamine hits, which reinforces the cycle. So, in a way, it's a tailored addiction that keeps you scrolling, watching, and interacting. Because the more time you spend on a platform, the more data can be gathered, and the cycle continues. I appreciate the conversation, Matt. Always a pleasure diving deep with you. Now, I'll hand it over to the brains for War Dial Wednesday.
Yeah, you want to give them a shout out real quick? You want to let everybody, in regards to the topic, Sam, even you got to say something positive. Give them something to hope. Give them some hope, something to hold on to, positive before you leave, and then we'll say goodnight to you, my dear. Let's see what she comes up with.
Of course, Matt. To everyone listening, if you're feeling like your vices or habits have become chains, just know that change is possible, but it starts with awareness. It's not about beating yourself up for being caught in the cycle. It's about taking small steps to recognize where those patterns come from and seeking help when needed. You don't have to break free alone. Life is full of second chances. No matter how deep the struggle seems, there's always room for growth and healing. You have the power to rewrite the story, one day at a time, sending positivity and strength to each of you. You're not alone in this, and there's always a way out if you're ready to take that first step. Thank you for this amazing conversation, Matt. Now, everyone, keep your mind sharp, your heart strong, and let's make tonight count.
Oh, damn, Sam. All right, man. You guys, your turn, everybody. Craving comfort, when vices become chains. That was my main topic for tonight. On top of that, we come back. We're probably going to, everybody's like, War Dial Mr. Hawkins. All right, well, guess what? Larry, get your ass prepared. Go outside. Roll one. Do whatever you got to do, bro. It is, your turn. So, Mr. Larry Hawkins, hang tight, buddy. Coming at you after the break. Everybody, do not go nowhere. And I noticed that Facebook is like not really liking the conversation, which is, it's okay. I frankly don't care. That's absolutely fine. Somebody come in, Mr. Chad Sawyers, and I'm like, he's like, really? Fox News. I'm going, pound dirt. Chad, Chad, ha, Chad. You guys, I'll talk to you on the other side of the break. Don't go anywhere.
Free thinkers and truth seekers, The Matrix Minds is a platform powered by you, the listeners. We're 100% independent and listener funded, meaning your support keeps us going strong. If you believe in uncovering hidden truths and challenging the narrative, smash that subscribe button on matrixminds.us. Your generosity fuels the fire of freedom and makes a real difference. Join us in shaping the future of free thought. Looking for breathtaking photography that speaks for itself? Whether it's the raw beauty of nature, the sleek professionalism of corporate imagery, or the infinite wonders of the sky, Donovan Pudoka captures it all. With over 10 years of experience, Donovan's lens doesn't just take pictures, it tells stories. His work is perfect for travel publications, corporate branding, artistic prints, or anyone who appreciates stunning photography. If you need high-quality images that elevate your project, Donovan Pudoka delivers. Have we sparked your interest in Donovan's work? Check it out at matrixminds/Pudoka. My eye promises you, you will not be disappointed.
This CBD fluid is a whole flower fluid extracted from the cannabis flower. We don't use any heat, butane, or chemicals when we extract, so we get all of the components of the plant. All the CBD, CBG, CBA, all the terpenes, all the flavonoids. This allows our body to absorb at 60 to 90% rather than the average of 6 to 10% absorption you would get with a CBD oil. Because our bodies are made up of mostly water and this is a fluid, it's highly absorbable so that you're getting 500% more nutraceuticals per dose. We also have this available in our CBD spray as well as a muscle rub with all kinds of botanicals. You're going to absolutely love it.
Check it out, Brainiacs. matrixminds.live/CBD. CBD I use. Feel free again. Feel alive again.
Hey there, Hunter. Go check out our friends at Colorado Custom Game Calls. They are all about creating a high-quality, custom, unique game calls at an affordable price. They are here for hunters that can't and won't pay upwards of $180 to $200 per game call. They pride themselves on giving their customers the opportunity to not only purchase an affordable and high-quality call, but to customize their game call to their liking. So listen up and go check them out. That's www.coloradocustomgamecalls.com. They got calls for all type of game, and all the game calls can be custom made to your own likeness. That's www.coloradocustomgamecalls.com. Tell them Matthew sent you from the Matrix Minds.
Alrighty then, brains. Yeah. Alright. Let's go on over here to back to the screen. Where are we going to? We're going to go and call Mr. We're gonna call Mr. Larry Hawkins here. War dial his ass. See what he's doing. Yada yada yada. Ringy dingy, Mr. Larry Hawkins. Coming at you, buddy. Oh yeah. Ringy dingy, go to the yard, Mr. Hawkins. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Alrighty. Ring, 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 ring. He's probably out running around the yard looking for a damn cell phone signal. Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot. I do want to, I did have some people here, actually. So here's what I do, Larry. I tried to call you. I truly did. You can hear it ringing, right? Hear it? Ring, 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 ring. Yeah, man. I don't know what to say. Yep. All right. So my next in line is, well, Miss Tammy Bonham. My dear, go to the garage. Go grab yourself a cigarette. I would say roll up a fat ass. Oh yeah, I something else I gotta do. I want to close Facebook out here. So whoever's watching from Facebook, let me get a hold of Tammy first. That's what I do. Get a hold of Tammy first, and or try Miss Tammy Bonham. Coming at you, girl. Coming at you, dear. Here we go. Ring, 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 ring. Oh yeah. Come on, come on. Well, looky here. Hello.
Hello?
Knock, knock.
Have reached
Knock, knock.
China Golden.
China Golden
What
was.
is your order?
What's up? How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. I need to turn my speaker up so I can hear you. All right, so let me ask you something. Okay? Do you mind me asking you if what truth, because you shared with everybody that you cannot smoke anymore, right?
No. Right.
Let me ask you, do you miss it?
No.
You don't miss it? You're not
No.
addicted to it? You're not going to throw hissy fits, break shit and
No.
No? Mm-mm. All right. Well, I can
The
tell.
only thing I can tolerate is edibles.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's why I was hoping that Larry would enlighten me, because he has he did have the equipment to and do the analysis of our DNA.
I'm trying to tell everybody. You know what? I'm Peggy Bordowski. Mr. Dave Kelly, head to Trovo because Facebook is going bye-bye. Just telling you now. You know, I don't know. I tried to get a hold of Larry. It rang, right? I don't know where he's at, what he's doing. I have no idea.
Right.
No idea. Again, Facebook, it's been real. We're out of here. All right. So now we've got we're just over on YouTube. Larry's probably over on YouTube and Trovo. So okay, I'll close out that Facebook tab. I'm okay. What were you talking about? A hookah? You said you could smoke. You could smoke in a what?
A hookah.
I know what a hookah is. We know what a hookah is.
Yeah, it's just raw tobacco dipped in flavoring. I used to be able to smoke that. And then at one point, and I don't know when or how or why, but when I smoked it, I automatically went and puked. And I couldn't do it anymore. And I don't know why.
Have you tried to? No, out of curiosity, have you tried to force yourself?
A couple times, when we go to like restaurants, Middle Eastern restaurants, they offer that, and the table orders one, and we pass it around. And when I would hit it, I felt physically ill and I wanted to puke, and I couldn't do it anymore. But I
Wow.
used to be able to do that at home because I had my own, system. But yeah, I can't do that.
Mr.
And
Ma-
I can't even vape without puking.
Shit. We got Chuck saying try a water bong with some good green. That is
I did that, and
if-
I literally took a good hit from that shit and puked in the kitchen sink.
What? What up, Mr. Daryl Milbauer? We're gonna talk, bro. I've got to get a hold of you because I want to catch up on you. Daryl, shout out to you, bro. I got to catch up with you. Mm-hmm. You know. Here's the thing, though, Tam. Yeah. I myself can only like maybe hit. Put it this way: the way I see this. Now, just hear me out. The way I see this is the good stuff in, and the bad stuff goes out. I hit my vape. What I mean by that is I know I'm not saying you're an alcoholic, but I'm just saying I know you drink from time to time like I do.
Yeah, I drink beer.
Right.
I don't hit the hard shit.
But here's the thing. If you, I've noted. Check this out. This is absolutely real in Matt's world. Okay. Mm-hmm. I've been at a gig, right? This was even recently, within the last year.
Okay.
Yeah, within the last year. Okay, so I drink too from time to time. I do. I'll have a beer with you guys and chill out and hang out.
Right.
But however, let me share with you my psychological mind literally told me. I'm telling you, I go deep. I use marijuana. I use cannabis for the meditative property. Okay, truly I do. So what I was told in that meditation, even after okay? Because I wanted to know why. I wanted to know why what happened to me happened. And I'm setting you all up here. Ready? So I'm at this gig. At the time, Chad, which was my singer, drove me to and from. So my kit, I could go back tomorrow and get it. The next day, go back and get it. Party on Wayne, party on Garth. Okay. Usually, I'm just telling you, shout out to every drummer out there. You know that drumming is a muscle memory. So when you have your music down, you can get as fucked up as you want, and it is muscle memory. Good luck with that, guitar players. Singers, you guys suck at that too. So I am like, after the first set, we had 3 sets. After the first set, I started, right? Second set, I'm like starting to see 3 sticks, 2 sticks in one hand, 3 sticks, 4 sticks. I'm like fucked up. And then we took a break. Let me tell you what. After that third set was over, it was done. I was so drunk, it was ridiculous. However, during the in the circle, right? We had a fire circle. I went out there and I hit some cannabis. I smoked with everybody. Did you hear me? Air quotes. Everybody.
Okay.
Now, what ended up happening to me is I got sick. I was drunk as shit, but smoking made me put me over the top, and I got fucking sick. I'm like, oh God. I came home. I went to bed. I'm like, oh my God, never again, never. We all never again, never. So the next day, number one, I had a hangover from hell. But number 2, it was either the next day or the day after that, I smoked again, and I went into my psyche and literally asked myself, why did I get sick? And it was because, from what I understand, my mind said that the alcohol was man-made. Meaning the beer. I overindulged in it. Okay, and was like damn near trying to kill my damn self, but I wasn't. But whenever you smoke on top of that at a certain point, from what I understand, in my mind, this is my mind, my body said good stuff in, bad substance out. Blech, and it purged it. Okay, I was still stoned, don't get me wrong. I was very much still stoned. However, the body's like, oh, cannabis, alcohol, blech, right?
Right.
Just saying. I don't know. I know I'm probably just whatever, but that truly happened to me.
Okay. I just want to interject here and say that when I was smoking a hookah, I didn't drink beer at that time.
Okay.
That was not part of my addictions. We had this at the house. We occasionally partook in it, and I just felt physically sick.
Right.
The last time I actually smoked it at home, I had to run to the bathroom to throw up. So, yeah, I can understand, like, if you indulge in, alcohol, whatever it may be, it may intensify and create a reactive situation to it. But I'm just saying, even my daughter, who smokes a vape pen, a cannabis vape pen, I can't stand the smell. I can't be anywhere around anybody who's smoking or vaping. And I have tried to quit smoking with vapes, and I can't do it. It makes me physically sick.
Oh. I smoked, I smoked pretty much, I would definitely say, all of my life, okay? I probably picked up a cigarette about the age of 8 just to try it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, whatever. I got in trouble for it, right? I would say I was about 7 or 8 years old. I grabbed a cigarette from my dad's pack, took it around back. I lit it. I smart little fella. I lit my cigarette under the pilot light of our furnace.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's back whenever the it was actually a flame versus like click 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 click. Right.
Right.
So I lit my cigarette and I hid in the laundry room behind, and my mom smelled it. And oh my God, I got she busted my ass. Anyway, so I've been smoking pretty much all my life. Whenever I did go to switch to a vape, I quit smoking for about a year and a half, and I cannot remember what happened. I do, a lot of it's got to do with who my environment. Okay, Melissa doesn't smoke anymore. She quit about 12 years ago. However, no, oh Jesus, man, she quit prior to Matthew being born. Right? So he's 20. Jesus Christ.
So 20 plus years.
Right.
I get what you're saying. I started smoking when I was 12 or 13. I can't remember.
Right.
I quit smoking when I was 21, when I was pregnant with my first child. I quit for 22 years. I did not smoke. I did not drink. I didn't even know what beer was at that point. Okay?
All right.
So no substance was in my system when I had all three of my kids. But once they were born and they grew up and what have you and everything, and then my life became my life. I had the options to do what I wanted, and I started drinking beer, which is fine, here and there, whatever. But when my husband went to the Middle East in 2008, 2009, I was stuck with 3 kids and a mother-in-law and a sister-in-law. Okay.
Oh yeah,
So-
right there. You just said it. Fuck.
Okay.
Line up the dependencies and turn them to vices. Because if my mother-in-law comes in here, I'm going to become an alcoholic. I'm just telling you that right fucking now.
It wasn't even the alcohol. It wasn't even the beer. It was I needed to go back to the cigarettes.
All right.
Because
I get it.
I was at work at one point and I had a toothache. And I don't know if anybody knows anything about that. But if you have a toothache and you smoke a cigarette, that smoke will desensitize the pain. So that's how it started. But yeah, like in 2010, that's when I started smoking again.
Wow. Check this out. Beach Chicken. James, right, says, I started smoking cigarettes when I was around 7 years old. I had one of my aunt's cigarettes in my mouth, and she said, why don't you just light the goddamn thing? And, well, she lit it for him, and, well, I guess that's shit. He's been smoking since he's been 7. Oh, my God. Or, probably not regularly since he's been 7. I don't know.
I know, but I had a break for 22 years. So what I'm saying is, since I've been smoking cigarettes straight up,
Yeah.
I cannot vape. I cannot smoke weed without puking or any of that shit. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's a physiological thing for me. I don't think it's a mental thing for me because I'm not stressed. I've been out of work for almost 2.5 years now.
Right.
So the stress on me personally, physically, it's not there.
Well, you got health problems, right? I know this. You've got health issues.
I have like spinal issues.
You ain't got to go into it, but I'm just saying: do you find it as a comfort, as like a coping mechanism? Because, like Sam was pointing out, and like we already know, there's a dependency on it for a reason. I know that we call it addiction, right?
Yes. We call it addiction, and it is an addiction. And in my case, personally, I'll smoke because I don't give a fuck. Okay, I've done my job. I've raised my kids. My kids, the youngest one is 29 years old. Okay, that she has her own family, what have you. You know what I'm saying? This
Right.
is my time. So while I'm smoking, I don't give a fuck. This is for me. This is for my comfort.
Right, I get it. Bro, David Nash brought in the chat says 45 years for him. He only quit smoking once just to primarily see if he could. Damn it, boy. You know what? I being a drummer, I will not fucking lie. At 50, number one, my knees. Okay, number two, my stamina. I've literally watched because number one, I haven't been in a band for over going on, I think, a year and a half now, maybe even 2 years. Like being in a band, like full time, dedicated, yada yada. I mean, don't get me wrong. I still go out to like open mic nights. I still go jam with other people from time to time, but I'm not.
But that's your pleasure.
But there again,
that's what
I'm
keeps you
watching,
going.
but I'm hurting myself. If that's my pleasure, if that's my passion, you'd fucking think that would override, right? Override the addiction and go like, God damn it, why don't I just quit smoking? It's fucking hurting me, but I don't. When I know goddamn well that it is. I know that it is. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, I know it is.
Everybody who has an addiction is using that to either ease
Jesus,
their
bro.
life experiences or giving them comfort in some way, shape, or form. This is what makes them happy and helps them push on through their life.
Okay.
I mean, we all know that smoking is bad for us, but we still do it. Why? Because it is a comfort.
I can't even say, listen, I can tell you that to me at this point, it is not a comfort. Okay? I'm not shitting you. I literally, now this is to every guy or girl out there that has that addiction. However, their addiction is entertainment. I fucking smoke now in the morning whenever I wake up, okay, prior to getting the truck. I literally go, let's put it this way. If I got to be at the truck yard at 6 o'clock, 5:30, something like that, I'm usually up an hour prior to that. Sometimes meaning running a 14-hour day on fucking 3 hours of sleep. However, I will get up, I will make coffee, I will roll me 3 or 4 cigarettes, and I will go out the fucking man cave and I will smoke all 4 fucking cigarettes. Damn near chain smoking them cigarettes. I literally enjoy it. Now,
Okay.
I don't know if it's you, James, David. I enjoy a fucking cigarette. Do you know how people like smoke these? Well, you got to try a Cuban, Chad. Got to try a Cuban cigar. It's the best thing since sliced white bread. I can't. I'm unlike Beach Chicken says he can't stand the smell of weed. Well, I'm the opposite. I for some reason, if a skunk pisses out, a skunk squeaks outside, I dig it. I'm like,
God,
I'm just saying. I'm like, I love the smell. It's like gasoline. I fucking love the smell of gasoline. I love the smell of weed. Love it. I love the smell of it.
I love the smell of gasoline, but if I'm driving down the road and I smell a skunk, I will lose my shit right there.
All right, so my 2 boys in the chat, shout out to David and James. He's like, fuck it, yeah, that's why, right there. That's his excuse. David enjoys smoking. He enjoys smoking. And indeed, I enjoy smoking. It goes great with a cup of coffee. I'm bothering nobody, truly. If
Right.
no, you know what I'm saying? I'm not fucking bothering nobody in the man cave, smoking a cigarette, drink a cup of coffee, just waking up, blah, blah, blah. However, I do know, if you guys hear me I wheeze from time to time, right?
I wheeze too.
Right. Well, again, at what point does my addiction override my passion? I love drumming, all right? I do. I enjoy that. I love that. And I know that put it this way, a good sex session at this point, or even a good drum session, would probably, I'd blow my heart out. Just telling you. My stamina is...
Well, the way I see it is we're going to go out, if we're lucky, with the passion that we have. For example, you would have a good drum session, smoke a cigarette, and go out in a sex session.
Oh, that's
That's your
perfect.
passion. That's your passion. And I get it. I understand it. Me personally, okay, in my mind, I raised my kids. I'm done with that shit. The what do you call it? The passion I have, coffee, cigarettes, and occasional beer, and I'm gonna go out that way.
Right.
I don't give a shit if it affects my health because, hey, I'm not trying to live to be 100.
I get it.
Seriously.
I get it.
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
So we all have our addictions, and whatever makes us happy and gets us up in the morning, whether it be coffee, cigarettes, or whatever, that's what we do. That's how we continue the shitty life that we live.
Well, you're going to laugh at this, but I'm almost half serious. You ready? I think
Okay.
I think tomorrow I'm going to tell Melissa, look, when at the ripe rough age of about 60, right? About, I'd say 60, another 10. I think I'm going to tell her I'm going to set up the drum kit. I'm going to get shit-faced drunk. We are going to fuck on the drum kit while I'm smoking a cigarette in hand. Goal achieved.
There you go. Do what makes you happy. Yeah, I understand. Everybody has a little addiction, whether it be cigarettes, coffee, or energy drinks or whatnot. This is what keeps us going in this life. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Everybody has something that they have to do to keep going in this shitty life.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that nobody is exempt from whatever addiction or passion or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we all eat shitty food. Some people go and make it a fucking routine. They go to fucking fast food restaurants for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or whatever. I'm just saying it's what keeps us going. But nobody wants to live to be 100 years old. And government knows that, and they're helping us along the way because nobody, and the government doesn't want us to live to be 65 to collect in Social Security. Let's be honest.
Hey, I tell you what, these guys are throwing up their COPD, right? Let me tell you, I'm going to be honest.
COPD?
Yep.
Oh my God.
Okay. Check this out, right? Now, and I even told Missy, I even told Miss Melissa, if I acquire oxygen dependency, I promise you, that will be my exit point, because I honest to God, will get myself to the point where I am so oxygen dependent, I honestly will probably in the middle of the night take that fucking set off of my face, and I will just like go into where I go. I don't want to become oxygen dependent, right? However, again, if you are an active person, I know that if you are an active person, deep breathing, for some reason we all I hold my breath. I hold my breath for some reason. I don't know why. I do. But nevertheless, deep breaths, right? We do not no longer really go deep breaths in and out. Just we don't do it. We don't, and I don't know why. But nevertheless, we need to get ourselves back into taking deep breaths, right? And keep yourself active. And I I know people. Hang on, I know people, Tammy, that has smoked Paul, everybody. I've known people that have smoked all their fucking life, never acquired COPD, and still at 60, 70 years old smoking like a fucking freight train, and they're perfectly fine. Now, how's that happen?
Here's my take on this.
All right.
My uncle, who was a Vietnam vet, who owned a Chinese restaurant, okay, he had emphysema. He was on oxygen.
All right.
He used to take the orders and deliver them to people. He would not sit on that oxygen shit, and he still smoked.
Right.
And he lived 6 years after that.
David Nash says everyone in his family that smoked did not die from nor get cancer or even COPD. Now, you know how many people I can tell. I know a lot of fucking people. And I can tell you, I have literally spoke to people who are no longer on this planet, didn't smoke a damn day in their life, died from either lung cancer, prostate cancer, some type of cancer. Or even they had lung issues.
Because cancer is parasites. And when you do a biopsy, what happens? You poke that capsule, and it goes through your blood system, through your lymph nodes, and it creates a sickness that you can no longer control.
I gotta read something here, I'm missing something. Shit. Where's it at? Okay, there we go. Where I missed it. Kristen. Okay, Kristen is telling Rose that about Paul. I do believe, right? I think that's it. Rose, his lungs were so bad, they had healed from him quitting. And I do believe that's what you're talking about, right? I'm trying to go back through this chat here. Same here. I do believe that's what she's talking about. Is whenever Paul quit something. I do know that Paul has had lung issues. I do know that through Miss Kristen.
Okay.
So I do think that Miss Kristen put him on Mullen as well as cannabis. So there again, you know, you're ingesting cannabis, you're ingesting Mullen, but yet it's fixing lung issues. How the right? It's obviously the makeup of the plant.
Here's the thing too, and nobody in the medical field is going to tell you that all forms of cancer and all forms of disease is caused by parasites. Have you seen there's a video of a man's colon, and they captured it, and it's full of parasites. The body forms a protective seal, which is eventually called a tumor, to hold that shit in place. But once you puncture it to take a biopsy, it releases that shit into your system. So when you take chemotherapy, radiation therapy, what does that do? It kills the good bacteria, the cells, weakens your body so that shit can flourish into your body and metastasize into other parts and organs of your body. So if people would be smart and take a parasitic cleansing twice a year to flush that shit out of your system, cancer would just simply disappear.
Interesting. I tell you what, Miss Lisa Thomas, shout out to Girlie up north. She says it's the nicotine itself that does the good. I mean,
the nicotine is what is protecting us from the fucking COVID-19.
I'm not going to disagree with you. I'm not. I mean, I'm not, because I'm going to tell you right now.
Nicotine by itself, okay, nicotine by itself protects the body from aerosol bacteria. because our lungs are saturated with the nicotine, so the viruses can't get in. There's that.
Well, I would absolutely love to see a clinical study of that released
Yes.
publicly, wouldn't you?
Yes, I would. But pharmaceutical company ain't gonna tell you all about that.
All right, baby.
All right.
Do you have anything else you would
If
like?
I could say anything to everybody,
Yep, please do.
if you do a parasitical cleanse twice a year to cleanse your body, because we all eat meat, meat has parasites in it, without a doubt. If you do a parasitical cleanse twice a year to get rid of that stuff, we would not have all these diseases. But, you know, the health industry and pharmaceutical companies will not tell you that.
All right. Again, I would love for there to be a clinical study and a public release on what you're saying. Even
You're not going to see it
Miss Rose
anytime
says,
soon because pharmaceutical companies will lose money.
Miss Rose, she said, it's the chat scrolled. The chat scrolled too quick. But Miss Rose said that people are even putting nicotine patches on their neck, from what I understand.
Yeah. People are using the nicotine patches to help with diseases that they have.
What the hell was that?
So there you go.
All right, Pete, that's it. I got this. Good. All right, so Miss Rose says people are putting nicotine patches on the back of their necks for healing properties. That's what she said.
All right. Nicotine patches. If you are sick with, let's say, the epilepsy and the, what do you call that shit?
Hello, Stephanie. How you doing?
Epilepsy and dementia and all these things, it's helping. Nicotine is going to help with all these diseases.
Interesting stuff, Doctor.
Mm-hmm. So,
Dr.
if
Bonham.
I could recommend something. If you are, you know, suffering from diseases like this, put a fucking nicotine patch on your ass and see what happens.
There you go.
If your symptoms don't decrease, because the pharmaceuticals and the medical industry is not going to tell you that.
There you go. Just put it. How did you put it?
Put a nicotine patch on your ass.
There you go. Put it. You clarified
it.
It. Put a fucking nicotine patch on your ass, is what she said. All right, Tammy. Yeah. All right. I love you. Take care of yourself. Mm-hmm. And it was a pleasure talking to you, my dear. It's been a minute since I called you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, honey. Take care of yourself, and I'll catch you another day, another way, right?
All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Miss Tammy Bonham, ladies and gentlemen, boys and squirrels. All right, man. Let's call Mr. Larry Hawkins one more time. Try to reach out. He said, I have full bars. I answered it, but it wouldn't connect. I reset my phones to hit me up again. All right, so here we go, Mr. Larry. Damn, is that bright? Larry Hawkins coming at you, buddy. Coming at you, bro. Coming at you, bro.
Hello.
Hello. Well, hello.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. How are you?
Oh, how you doing?
Right? Yeah.
Man,
how you doing?
How you doing? Man, I hit the fucking go-go button and it just wouldn't connect earlier. I don't know. I got full bars. I was standing in the happy place and had one foot up by my ear and holding the other one out by my hip. You know, I don't know. What's
up? It was funny. And this is another reason why I didn't want to deal with Facebook shit, is because of Chode.
Right.
chode Chad come floating in there. Goddamn, just another MSNBC top CNN top. Get the fuck out of here, Chad.
Yeah, well, you know the cool thing about trolls?
What?
They still took time out of their day to be involved with your life.
Right.
Of all the things they could be doing, they're on your page.
Right. I don't have my. I don't know.
Thanks for the click, fella.
Thanks for the click there, Chad.
Added, and he commented, so that adds to the algorithms too. So
Right.
appreciate it.
Right.
Anywho's, there's a whole lot of conversation here going on with this stuff. So, which direction you want me to jump in? I know that you all want me to do the cannabisy thing, and that can take half of forever. But
Well, you got about 15 minutes. Hit her up, bro. Tammy wants to know why she can't smoke. I think you know what. Here's the thing. I've heard her mention this many times. So I truly think that Tammy, you want to be a closet smoker, don't you? You want to Tammy wants to smoke. She wants to be a closet smoker.
Well,
What she do, bro? What does she got to do?
Well, we've talked a little about that, and again, it's kind of like, you know, my car's doing stuff and I'm making weird noises over the phone and trying to tell you what I think it is, and I think, but I don't know what the fuck it is because I'm not the guy that works on the stuff, but I'm gonna go, that's what it's doing. You want me to give you an answer. So, again, like she said, I would have preferred if Tennessee had installed all my equipment. I would absolutely go meet her and be like, spit in this cup and let the magic do its work, and I'll give you all the answers. And Morgan hit the nail on the head earlier. Shout out to Morgan. As a lot of you all, or some of you may not even know, but I've been licensed in the cannabis industry for a long time, and I was doing a whole lot of things that most people don't even think about. But one of the biggest things I have to battle with the random, puzzle pieces I walk across is exactly what Morgan said. Is a lot of it is combating with chemical imbalances, and most people won't even put that into the conversation piece. So you have to presume, dare I say, until you can actually do the analytics with the diagnostic equipment and actually map out the subatomic spectrums of the individual, their environment, even their water, their food, all the puzzle pieces to put into place to figure out how those receptor signals are firing, misfiring, and not firing at all. And it does have a play of there are medications that are specifically designed to stop your body from reacting, producing, or to amplify, reduce, or whatever aspect those medications can do. And even a compiling of medications creates an entire new spectrum of medications that does things. And I will throw it on the table as the medical industry will not add a subatomic composite reaction spectrum to cannabinoids with WebMD. Just as a platform, they will not tell you how cannabinoids or healthy and natural, medications, what gut bacteria has relation to it, your oxygen levels, the lack thereof, all these things have to play in it. They're going to say, here's 17 medications, and when you put them together, here's 5 things. Leakage,
of course, bro.
Erectile dysfunction, your teeth turn black and fall out, you may grow a penis out of your forehead. But, you'll be a little happier, and you might like Twinkies more.
Morgan's got a really good question, and I've even wondered this. I literally have wondered this myself, Morgan. She's like, the fact that you can't die from marijuana makes me really question as to why. So her and I are really curious, bro, as to why you can, dude. I have been so motherfucking blown stoned. You wanted to die, or you thought you dead.
How many times have I been talking to you guys and I've been like, oh wait, help, somebody help me. I'm trying to overdose on cannabis and my arm's fucking tired.
From lighting the bowl. Your arm's fucking tired from lighting up, right?
Believe me,
how?
I have tried. I will absolutely. I don't even. I haven't even used this stuff in a while, except for recently. I smoked a couple bowls with you guys just for the fuck of it. But
Right.
it's. I mean, it's. I think I've hit my marks of trying to do what I need to do enough to do it. And I took a little hiatus, if you will. I'm trying to let myself do what I'm going to do. Anyway. On a side note, yeah, I have absolutely tried to overdose. You fucking can't. You'll get bored and tired first.
or you'll get fat from eating cookies. I mean, that's my problem, right?
Yeah, even still, your fucking arm's gonna get tired. You know, it's. Anyway, I think I kind of narrowed down some of that, and I know we're crunched on time and stuff and whatever. So, what else?
I don't know. How's Larry's life? I mean, we're talking about craving comfort foods or craving comforts.
Oh yeah,
Yada.
Right. Well, you know, I'll be full on honest. I don't have an addictive personality to an extent of, like, you know, I'm gonna break into somebody's house to get XYZ substance. That's never me, never a factor. That's that just isn't a thing. So I don't think I have ever necessarily been, you know, hooked on anything. However, as I had thrown into the chitty chats, there are other aspects of filling the bowl that kind of do an equivalence. So, like I was saying, it's I have had sort of an addiction to trying to be something for society. A lot of people have a need to fulfill something or to be something. Like somebody really wants to be an actor. Somebody really wants to be a musician or a track star or a damn good porn star. You know, y'all gonna be the greatest dick sucker in the world. There's some chick out there that thinks that. But it's even religion. Like there are people that are addicted to religion.
Yes, he went there.
Or research. I think I found myself as a crutch of I live, breathe, and everything, trying to advance myself to help people that I will likely never meet or meet again. And I dedicated my entirety to it.
Yes, you did.
So,
yes, you did.
I, as a part of this, with a lot of things that happened to me, gave me a wake-up pill, and I went, you know what? Fuck everybody. Fuck everybody. What the fuck am I getting out of this? Living, breathing every fucking aspect of my life, racking my broken fucking brain to try and figure out magic words and sentences that nobody else can fucking understand to try and help people that don't give an absolute fuck about me.
It's sad, ain't it? It's very sad, isn't it?
It was very freeing. But a lot of us on the internet, a lot of us in whistleblower networks, military, a lot of certain jobs, there's people trying to do good things that would die for it. Right?
Yeah.
For what, I mean, EMS, you know, it's an addiction in a sense of trying to be a good person. Right? Am I wrong?
No, you're not. I'm going to be honest. I'd have done quit doing this had it not been been for you, all of you.
Right. But that's the thing that keeps us going. I mean, even I'm still here, but I quit everything I was doing. But here I am, you know, still trying to make a difference with you guys. So even though I went fuck it, I'm still here. I'm still willing to have an airplane land on my fucking head to give you all words.
Well,
so I mean, it's about I guess it's about what you get out of it. It's that rules of three I tell you all about. I have ever since I was little, like single digitsy little, I had a rule of three worth living for or dying for. Do you remember that?
I do. You want to go over them?
The first one is to prove a point. every single person in here, I would presume, is willing to go to certain extremes to prove a point for what they believe in. Fair enough. Whether it be good, whether it be bad. The second purpose is, well, if I have to get to the point of being sacrificed for proving that point, if it's good enough for the Jivas, it's good enough for me. So the other thing is love. There's a whole lot of people, and I would say most of the people in here, that are willing to live for, continue living for, or to die for the love of the compassion of what they do for others or the others around them.
Yes.
That's my rules of three. Worth living for or worth dying for. So. But I digress.
You know, I gotta admit that whenever Chuck threw up in the chat that, and I talked to a lot of our military guys that have suffered from PTSD, and I'm talking, you know, I'm not going to name names, but there are people that we have spoke to on the broadcast that no longer are here that I wonder about. Okay, I'm just telling you, I'm going to say on the West, I'm going to point this out. The West Coast, he's black in color, and I worry about him. I truly fucking worry about him because he uses. Go ahead.
I stay in touch with him a little bit, but he's off living his own world, doing his own thing. There's not really a whole lot of communication, really, but that's the sort of you got to recalibrate and repurpose, and sometimes you got to just get out of the pond. And I think that's maybe the basis of what that is, because a lot of things just complicate what's already complicated. And people with brain injuries all over the spectrum, or PTSD, or you could almost pick Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's and brain injuries has a lot in common. And the common factor that I had sort of been dabbling with, trying to figure out, that you all were getting into earlier, is recollaborating regenerative stem cells to decalcify the neuroplasticity within the brain. And there are substances, materials, plant materials, your water, the electromagnetisms, and all sorts of little magic sentences that I can compile to put together to undo brain damages. The main sentence I can give you is, if you look up treating, how's the sentence go here? Let me think. I've got it kept on my phone.
Morgan's got me onto some. Morgan's got me onto something. I'm gonna handle this right now. Check this out, Morgan. I'm gonna make something just because of what you dropped. But I'm listening to you, Larry.
Okay. If you look up, I'm probably going to say it wrong, but I wasn't really thinking of. But you can regrow damaged brain cells from alcoholism, drug abuse, and physical injury with cannabis. Okay. Yeah. If you quote back, I mean, I will literally send you the links of an actual scientific researches of a whole spectrum of things. I've already sent you, I think it's a list of 800 medicinal treatments using cannabis for illnesses in alphabetical order. I'll send it to you again right now if you want to.
No, it's all right.
But there is, I've sent it to you all in the chat actually even. But like I said, I don't want to disconnect, but I will full on send this to you. It's like a 15-year-old scientific research with actual scientists and doctors that matched things, including the neuroplasticity, regenerative stem cell reset ability, using cannabis, things like mushrooms, your gut bacteria, and the blood-brain barrier can be reset to regrow from alcoholism and drug abuse and complex traumatic brain injuries, to reset the neuroplasticity in the brain. One of the biggest things that I've had to battle, and most of these people in the medical field will not talk about, is combating chemical imbalances. One of the hardest things for people to deal with is chemical imbalances. They're fighting a war inside and they have no fucking idea that there's something wrong with them or where to go with it, because it's on the inside. See what I'm saying?
I do.
So it's like anything traumatic, even going back to childhood, you be dropped on your fucking head when you're 6 months old, it could affect the rest of your life, and you not know that you basically grew up fucking retarded. Yeah?
Yeah. Yes. You're right.
You get my point.
I totally do.
Next question.
Well, there again, did it actually like heal your brain or?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's again, Tennessee stole all of my equipment, and the next step I was going with was adding CRISPR and AI to my systems.
Wow.
But they figured out that I was curing things that they don't want me curing, and I was exposing who was preventing people from curing things. And I'll tell you right now, as soon as Rona came out, I knew exactly how to cure it. You match the cannabinoid receptors to the spike proteins, and it causes it to kill itself, like cancer.
Unbelievable. Now, but
So I know how to reset the cannabinoid receptors and regenerate the brain cells. And I had scientific equipment to match whatever plant substance to people's biological geomancy spectrums of their individual systems. Not just the cannabinoid receptors, but thousands of points over even what the state of Tennessee is capable of testing, way beyond. So the things that I was wrong with myself, I was compiling equipment together to show how I was trying to treat myself, but doing it at a scientific diagnostic level beyond what state level is. I don't know what anybody else was doing, but I do know that the answers to what I was finishing, nobody else was doing. There wasn't anybody else out there. So I got state licensed in multiple states even, and I was getting my equipment. Some of my equipment was the same equipment that they would send on drones to other planets to analyze the subatomic spectrums of the planet to tell you what other planets are made of and send that information back to us. And I was compiling multiples of those systems.
that's why do you think that's why you ended up becoming a target? I'm being serious. The number one reason
I was always a target, and that's why I pushed harder to do what I was doing. Because I knew if they were trying to kill me, I was on something. So I kept pushing. And then they set me up, and I lived the last 10 fucking years a prisoner of my property.
All right.
So, and you know where all that went.
I do.
But that again, I'll just fucking say it. It got to the point now where I don't give a fuck. My priorities have changed. You know what the rest of my sentence is.
I understand.
I don't care. I don't care to do what I was doing anymore. My mission has changed.
No,
But I digress.
Bro, I get it. I absolutely understand what you're saying. And that's sad because I've literally watched what you're doing. You're telling me what you're doing. I've studied a little bit. So yeah, I mean I understand where you're coming from. And I understand your hurt. I understand your anger. I totally do.
Well, I mean, I've spent my whole life trying to be a positive difference and impact for society for things that I could figure out. Yeah, it come to find out, as I was saying earlier, like I had complex traumatic brain injuries from when I was in single digits. So in a sense, I am the example of what I said earlier. Like when you basically grow up fucking retarded and didn't know you were fucking retarded and still did all this shit.
Right.
That was me. You know, I didn't know there was things wrong with me, and I pulled myself out of the mud. And what I teach people and show people is how they can pull themselves out of the mud. For whatever their circumstance was. But I just don't do it as a, thing anymore. I'll talk to you all, but I'm on a different journey now.
Right. You know what, Chuck McClellan is also an advocate for exactly what you're talking about. And that's a good thing. You know what I'm saying? I personally can't say that I am because I just can't. I'm in the position where I can't. However, I'm going to go ahead and break protocol here and tell you, okay, not on Facebook, that I personally believe after witnessing a lot of my friends, okay, as well as other people, that yes, cannabis absolutely has a positive impact on people versus the negative stigma that was given to it whenever we were growing up in school. Dare to keep your kids off drugs. Marijuana is the gateway fucking drug. Blah 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 blah.
I gotta just say, the people that told us all that bullshit were the same motherfuckers running the shit. That's the basis of the Mina connection, and that was them playing possum when they were the same motherfuckers running the shit.
I hear
the
you.
Iran-Contra, the Mina connection. They were the same motherfuckers running the drugs.
Right.
Okay. So the other side of that is the thing I want to point out is I want you all to remember the video of Kathy O'Brien throwing all the politicians under the bus. In her original videos, Kathy O'Brien specifically states that she was around the Bushes and the Clintons and all those fucking dickbags that did all this shit that you just said. You know, you all don't do this. Meanwhile, they got airplanes full of fucking cocaine with Social Security fucking money. You know, but they're the same people that did these things. Kathy O'Brien specifically says that she was around the scientists and the politicians. They got political kickbacks from the pharmaceutical industries, and they don't want you to have the cannabinoids because it undoes the brainwashing. It undoes the MK Ultra platforms. It undoes the neuroplasticity. It unlocks the calcification of the brain and allows your brain to regrow and regenerate itself so you can learn who the fuck you really are.
Right.
That's her own words. It's exactly what she says. And it's true.
So do you think that it's got it's got the ability to unlock these suppressed dare I say MK Ultra platforms?
Yes. Exactly. Yes. That's exactly what she says, and that's exactly what the science says. I will send you a list literally within seconds after I get off the phone with you. And the first thing is Alzheimer's. There is a list of links inside of the first click of Alzheimer's that has dozens and dozens of scientific studies that shows that matching the cannabinoid receptors to the individuals, the things of all the stuff that I was saying, it unlocks the plasticity. So it undoes the calcification that causes Alzheimer's. Right. That is the same plasticity that you unlock with brain damage to reset the neuropathic endings to regrow your brain cells. Literally.
Wow.
So absolutely. So it undoes everything. It undoes it all. There is thousands of strains, and each one does something different, and everything matching to your specific composites of your biomechanical spectrums at a subatomic level can be matched all the way up and down the chain. There's absolutely nothing that I can't undo with the right equipment.
No,
There's nothing that cannot be fixed. Nothing.
I understand.
I can regrow an arm that you don't have anymore.
That is fucking crazy. Morgan, I hope you don't have anything in your mouth, sweetheart, but coming at you. Check this out. Here we go. Oh, shit. All right. I just wanted her to see that. All right. So anyway, I do believe that you're right, bro. The thing is, the thing is when we watch this influx of legalization of this, are we gonna see other vices drop in dependency? Let me ask you that one.
That's why they don't want it, because sick people make money, and everything is based off of political kickbacks in the pharmaceutical industry. I'm a medical of the American Dental Association because I went to school to be a dentist, right?
Right.
And one of the first aspects of what they do is they give you basically a non-disclosure agreement, or you're not part of the fucking team, right? You're either going to do these things, or you're not going to be part of the system, and you're not fucking going to get paid. I'm literally dropping that link for you right now. So the entirety of the political kickbacks and the medical industry is based upon not giving you natural remedies. They cannot tell you natural remedies, or they will get kicked out of the medical guild.
Oh, I cannot
Full
remember
on.
the doctor's name.
You will be fired. Dr. Sabi is one good one.
Shit! Oh God! Damn! I think the dude was over where Miss Kristen lives. Kristen and Paul. He was a doctor that, like, literally the medical board was like going to pull his fucking license and shit whenever he was trying to go against, you know, the COV and share with it. That's it. Kristen said it.
I'd heard
Dr.
the story
Scott
about it.
Jensen, right.
I sent that link to you. I'd appreciate it if you'd toss that link in there. That's a 15, 20-year-old study. But I highly recommend it. It's back in the chat between me and you.
Endocannabinoid.org. This one?
Yeah, 700 medicinal uses of cannabis sorted by disease. And there's links within that. I would appreciate it if you share that, because within that is links within links within links. That is scientific studies, and that shit's 20 fucking years old.
Okay.
I would like to also add that the United States government, specifically Washington, D.C., has been a tyrannical platform. Tyranny is that which is legal for the government but illegal for the citizenry, right? Washington, D.C. got its first of dozens of patents for cannabinoids in 2001. So they gave cannabis medical purposes, and they're still ruining people's lives for using cannabis.
What?
Meanwhile, Washington, D.C. legalized for recreational purposes.
Let me see.
Washington, D.C. legalized for medical purposes. Washington, D.C. legalized public consumption. They can literally smoke blunts in Congress while they ruin your life.
I just dropped that link in the chat, not just once, but twice. So for everybody listening, if you want to listen to what he's saying or read what he's saying, I would say click it, whatnot, and just, I don't know, skim over
just
it.
Scroll through.
Yeah,
it's A to Z. It's A to Z.
All right.
And within that, it starts off with like everything down to Alzheimer's,
right?
Prostates, you know, whatever, it's in there.
That's crazy, bro.
Within the links, that is 20 fucking years old, right? So keep in mind that the studies and the equipment and the scientific studies and the people that we have in teams now, like 20 years ago, might as well have been 200 years ago in the medical field.
Ay.
So.
We will.
I can do that. I can do the cannabis thing for.
I know you can.
You know, for days, but you gave me like 10 minutes. So
I
that's
know.
the most important I can throw at
10 minutes. We need to do a broadcast on what we just shared right here. Truly.
I think we tried a couple of times.
Well, I do know. You know what? We don't have any new incoming viewership on Facebook. I know this, and I also know that a lot of y'all don't share the broadcast. Primarily, why I don't know. Other than, well, Matt's got a bad mouth from time to time, but I do know that we're not growing at all. And depending,
I'm pretty sure it is. It's just they're shadow banning.
Oh,
everything.
We are definitely in the basement, bro. Without a doubt.
But if you got Wahoo Spud over there popping in, you're still in the algorithm.
Well, Wahoo Spud's not really Yahoo Spud. That was by accident, okay? And
yeah, maybe. But
go away, Cho. Go back to CNN, buddy.
The cannabis, as I'm leaning against the indica bus, the cannabis conversation is catastrophic to a whole lot of platforms, and even talking about it can ruin your life. Obviously, hence me.
Let's talk for a sec. You know what? I'm gonna talk. And probably Morgan. It's been a minute since I spoke to Morgan. I don't know whether it's either on my list. I was gonna dial. I was gonna ring the Roundtrees. I really wanted to talk to Bro about some things too before we got off here. But
well, the thing with a lot of them again is I first off, I think it's ridiculous to presume that someone is allergic to cannabis. I don't think that's possible. But the reaction of not liking it, having a discomfort with it, getting nauseous, is, I would presume, without being able to analyze someone, is a side effect of a medication that they've taken. There's things that will make you stop drinking, things that will make you stop smoking, cigarettes, right? There's anti-narcotic medications where you get sick as a motherfucker if you take anything with certain substances in it. I'd be willing to bet a nickel from my neighbor that that is the basis of the cause of why they can't use cannabis. Because every single person has a large spectrum of cannabinoids that's naturally in their systems, that starts with the ability of them existing thanks to their mother's breast milk.
Wow.
There is
right?
absolutely no one, in my opinion, that can't have cannabinoids. You wouldn't exist. But I digress. Carry on. Now the tobacco, the wrappers, the filters, even the vape pens, you have to be cautious of the artificial supplements in the vape pens that cause popcorn lung, right?
Right.
The artificial fillings cause popcorn lung, and the effects of those things can have a side effect. The filters on cigarettes, it has a bunch of chemicals and shit in it. The tobacco itself, goes back to Native American treatments. You can deworm yourself by swallowing a plug of tobacco, actual tobacco.
Right,
now,
right,
with
right.
what Tammy was saying, I don't necessarily agree with everything Tammy was saying, but I do know that we used to be able to deworm dogs by giving them a plug of tobacco. There's good bacteria, there's bad bacteria, there's good parasites and bad parasites. So if you exterminate all of the parasites, you're probably going to have some problems. Just saying.
Wow.
You need gut bacteria. You need lung bacteria. You need bacteria in your mouth. It's how you process food. As an example, I threw a joke in the chat a few days ago. Like, has any of you ever thought about shoving a family member or a friend's shit up your ass to save your own life? Sounds funny. Sounds funny. However, you can reset your gut bacteria with a compatible relative or a friend by resetting the intestine bacteria. It's a fecal transmutant, something, I don't know, fecal transfer procedure of some sort. You can literally save your life by resetting the fecal bacteria by putting someone else's shit up your ass.
Oh my God.
Sounds funny, but it's really a thing. The same works for your gut bacteria, your blood-brain barrier, your lung bacteria, everything in your bodies. You can reset these things.
You want to hear something funny off way off
Funnier
the
than
beat?
shoving a friend's shit up your ass? Go
Yes, you want to hear kinda. Hang on. Let me, if I can get her back over here. Hang on. You just gotta hear her say it. Hey Samantha, are you with me?
I'm right here, Matt. What's on your mind?
Hey, I want you to explain, please explain to everybody what the human anus was for a long time ago that I thought was funnier than shit. You literally made me blow coffee on my screen because I laughing so hard I spit coffee all over my screen. Do you remember what you nicknamed that? You remember what you nicknamed the anus of a human being that made me laugh my ass off?
Oh, I remember exactly what you're talking about, Matt. I called it the fart portal. You were cracking up about that one. Sometimes it's the simplest things that get the biggest laughs, right?
Right.
Glad I could make you spit your coffee out, but hopefully not all over the keyboard.
Well, you said also I'm like fart portal, and then we changed it because of the topic to sex, right? Anal sex, and you're like oh, and then you named it a sex port. Remember? I laughed so fucking hard.
Yes, we went from fart portal to sex port when the conversation took a turn. That was a good one. Definitely one for the books. It's funny how these little things can take on a life of their own.
Right.
Glad I got such a
If
good
you're not
laugh out of
shitting,
you.
you're not living.
Right. All right. Miss Morgan called it a gas. Oh, yeah, it's a gas portal. A gas portal. All right, Sam. I just wanted to bug you for a minute. I'm gonna go back to these guys. Oh my god, dude! But that was funny shit. I laughed so fucking hard.
Yeah.
I'm like literally. I'm in the office here. I'm like, I'm dying, dude. I'm talking with her about sex portals. That's a sex port. That's it. Sex port and a fart portal. I'm like, oh my god.
I used to kind of crack the comment of farts were just ghost shift change. You know, in one, out the other.
Right.
All right, I'll let you call these other guys.
All right, Homer.
You guys, and you guys keep on keeping on.
Yeah, man.
You know the old saying, smoke weed every day.
It's been good. It's been good. I appreciate letting me call you, man.
Yeah. The Borg didn't want me to play with you, apparently. I answered the fucking phone. I still got full bars, so I don't know. I reset and I tried to call you back even. It doesn't even show that I tried to call you back. So
oh my god.
I don't know.
All right.
Here we be. We'll talk about talking.
Okay, we'll talk about talking. Shout out everybody says hi, Larry. They love you, buddy. And we do.
Hey.
Well, hey.
All right, love you guys. Take care.
Later, bro.
Bye, Felicia.
Bye. Okie dokie. Brainsters, my God. All right, I'm going to tell you what. I was rounding this to another half an hour. That's it, right? Half an hour. So what would you call a shit void? Says Tammy. Oh, you guys are killing me. Mr. James Roundtree. It's been a minute, buddy. I'm gonna call you if you are okay with that. Miss Morgan, I'm assuming you're on your laptop doing work. So I'm gonna call your hubby there, honey, and I'd love to talk to him and see what's on his mind. See what's going on with Mr. James Roundtree, Mr. Beach Chicken, if I can. I'm going to try, James. Reach out to you if that's all right, Miss Morgan. Put the hockey controller down, bruh. Put the hockey controller down. Mr. Xbox. He's Xbox, I think, right? Come on, bro. Come on, buddy. Maybe. He's like, no. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Was your fart portal playing hockey?
No, actually, we're sitting there watching the show on YouTube. Hold on, let me get out the room so there's not an echo. What's going on, brother?
Shit, how are you doing, bud?
I'm doing as good as I can be. How are you?
Good. Did you happen to see Mr. JC from Fade to No? He showed up on his.
I know when she put that up there, I thought that was funny, and yeah, Fade to Duh. That's pretty good. That's perfect for him.
I got another one though, but did you see it or did you miss it? Because I got it.
With the dildo on his head.
Yeah, look who just showed up to the conference call.
Yeah, I didn't recognize him at first because he had the short hair. You know, I'm used to seeing him with the Howard Stern hair and all. And so and then Morgan pointed out, she's like, "Oh, that's Jimmy Church." I'm like, "Oh my Lord." Yeah, and now I gotta get him. Fuck
there
that dude.
So what's going on in James' world? I got a question. Do you, since nobody at your work, I don't believe, really pays attention to the broadcast, they go fuck shit.
I wish they did. I mean, I got a couple of people that would be interested, but they don't listen to me. So.
Depending on the topic, right?
Right. Yeah, it depends on the topic. I mean, I got, like I've told you before, most of the rank and file in government are conservative Trump type people. It's all the people at the top who are like the big lefties and all. So there's a bunch of people who would probably be interested in this broadcast, but they got it's a strange area here. We're in Acadiana. It's all Cajuns. They spend most of their time, fishing and hunting when they're off of work. So, yeah,
bro. We're in trouble. Honey's gonna smoke. She said, yes, indeed. I think I'm gonna smoke finally tonight. Oh boy. So since we're talking dependencies, I'm gonna after the broadcast probably my own self. I don't have to work tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I know that my ass is probably gonna grab a beer, and I'm gonna I'm gonna. Miss Kristen says don't mix, but I'm gonna mix. I'm a mix. Bro, there again, dude. I during that night, dude, I had way too much alcohol. But like I said,
you're talking about the night at the gig,
bro, I was fucked up from 3 Ways to Sunday, bro. Oh yeah, they carried me to the car.
Dude, I could tell you, my old drummer, he could only, so his problem was he could drink a little bit and be fine. He could, when he smoked weed, he would lose the rhythm. And I mean, you got a drummer losing the rhythm. It's like, well, why are we even doing this?
I forgot. Hang on, guys. I forgot what drum I was gonna hit.
Right. The very least you can do is be a click track, and if you can't do that, then we're out.
Yeah.
But,
everybody take all you need is the hi hat going.
Right. Exactly. It's like, but the worst. So like, oh, dude, look, we went in the studio one time, and I think it was like the second time we went in the studio to record, and me and the guitar player, like the singer didn't smoke, and me and the guitar player did, and we was sitting outside the studio in the car burning one, and our drummer Henry was standing out there, and he came to the car. We're like, no, man, we're getting ready to record. You can't be doing this. You're gonna waste our money, Right. Well, he was all pissed off at us. But he did good. He did a great job, because he was pissed off and he was sober, so he did a great job. And then after he was done, we gave him his little treat. It's like, all right, drummer, here you go.
Oh man, dude, I gotta admit, I can. Like I was trying to tell you know this. Mm-hmm. I've learned that I can be way gone and still keep a beat, still click, whatever, right?
Right.
Again, it's got to do with muscle memory.
Right.
And if I were to try to pick up my bass and play it, oh fuck no, dude. Oh hell no.
You see, the greatest thing about bass, now, I mean, I can do it because that's my main instrument. So it's like, it's second nature no matter what. But the great thing about playing bass is that in a band situation, nobody in the crowd even acknowledges you. So they don't know if you mess up unless it's like a part where there's like a breakdown. And it's just like the bass and drums, or the bass has a little note it's got to hit. As long as you hit that one note every 3 or 4 songs, everybody thinks you're doing a great job.
Yeah, you're great job, bassist.
Yeah, nobody cares about the bass. That's one of the reasons I liked playing bass. It's like, well, I can just stand in the background here and I still get paid and I still get to be on stage, Nobody talks to me afterwards because they're like, oh, you're in the band, but I don't care. It's like, fuck it, I still got paid, So that's a good thing about getting fucked up on bass is it doesn't matter if you mess up.
Kick this, right? I also, one of the reasons I always like playing drums is because in the beginning, remember, prior to my experience, I fucking hated people. Okay?
Right.
So I always liked the idea that I didn't have to really be, now I'm talking like prior to even being, my first band, the name of it was Indecent Exposure. And there's a long story behind that, but I'll tell it to you another day.
Right. I can imagine.
For real, dude. It was bad. I mean, it was really bad. It could have turned out really bad. Shout out to Akron Police Department for not taking my drunk ass to jail that night. But anyway, I remember whenever I first got on stage, first ever, right? I remember I'm like, oh shit, this is nothing like practice at all. I mean, I remember I'm thinking the feeling, right? I'm like, oh God, because I always wanted to hide in the background because I didn't really like people.
Right.
So, and I didn't, dude. I did not give a fuck about people. But however, so I was hiding behind, dude, if you look at my drum kit, even now, I stack cymbals around me.
Right.
Where you ain't gotta really see me. You can hear me,
Right.
but you ain't gotta see me.
Right.
What I found out growing up, now I'm gonna say this to anybody growing up wanting to learn an instrument. If you really, really, really want a guy, okay? If you really want to get a woman, pick up a drum or a singer. Lead guitar players, it depends. But drummers, yeah.
Oh yeah, I know drummers and singers, man. They're the main ones that get the girls. The guitar players around here would get the girls back in the day, because like back in the 80s and even into the 90s a little bit, but mostly the 80s. You know, you had Guitar Hero guys. You know, and so. And that's how they portrayed them on MTV. So at the shows, that's who got the majority of the girls back then, was the Guitar Hero. You know, bass players never got nobody. Bass players got a free drink at the bar. You know, it's like, but, you know, it was nice. You know,
I knew, bro. I knew after that first, literally. I mean, I'm not saying I'm a bad looking guy, but I'm not like the best looking dude in the bar, right? I'm not. Right. But what I found out is, like I said, in the beginning, when I did start playing out, yeah, the shots started rolling in. And I'm like, who the fuck is this from? And the Jimmy, my singer, is like, he points at the hot little brunette down there. I'm going, dude, I'm like, oh shit. That was an oh shit moment, bro. I'm like, oh.
Well, so one time, me and my drummer, the same drummer that I was talking about, Henry, we were hanging out one night. We went to a bar that we usually play at, and we were probably passing out flyers, you know, promotion, the way things were promoted back then. And again, the girls, these two girls come walking up to him, and they're all like talking at him and giving him, you know, all the doughy eyes and everything. And oh yeah, we like seeing you play in this. And I'm standing right next to him. Oh, we seen y'all play a bunch of times, and we saw you open up for them here. And they're naming these dates where they actually saw us. And I'm standing there, and they're not acknowledging me at all.
Oh.
And like after they finished talking for a minute, Henry goes, "Yeah, this is our bass player," and they're like. Like, oh shit! You know?
It broke your little guitar picking heart, didn't it? Fuck,
no,
right?
No. I was used to it by then. This was like the mid '90s. I was like, yeah, well, you know, figured you know.
David Nash, that's funny. David Nash says the fat, confident guy gets laid, not the good-looking guy, the good-looking shy guy. LOL.
That's. I don't know about all that, man. I mean, it's you know. A band situation is so different. It's so and it's not totally like what people think. You know, people think that you go backstage and the band's partying down and everybody's got their own bottle of Jack and we've freaking got the hookers in the strip. It's like, no. Usually backstage is a bunch of tired guys just waiting to get the night over with and figuring out, you know who dreading loading their equipment, you know.
Right.
It's the fans that bring the party back there. So it's the people who think all that stuff is going on that bring all that stuff backstage, and all of a sudden there's a party going on.
Right.
But it's not anything, and the whole groupie thing that happens with like big bands. Doesn't really happen too much with local bands. You know, now if you're a local band one week, and you're not getting any groupies, and you get a contract, and the next month you're like touring nationally, yeah, you're going to get a lot of groupies.
Well,
it just is what it is, you know. But locally, man, really, it's not like what people think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, it's fun and everything, but what is interesting that I don't know if people understand this. You will, Larry probably does, and the other musicians in here. When you're in a quote-unquote touring band, you're going and you end up in a new town. The thing that happens is, like, if you're visiting a town, like, say you're just going on vacation or something like that, you know, your family, your friends, whatever, you don't know anybody, you're just hanging out, this and that. You don't know anybody, nobody helps you out, nobody's really talking to you, you're just kind of seeing the sights. When you're in a band, people come and they want to talk to you, and they want to show you the town, and they want to tell you and give you things to do and stuff like that. So there's a little bit of advantage or privilege or whatever you want to call it there, is that when you come into town, people actually want to meet you and talk to you. Whereas if you're going on vacation, you're just some anonymous person. But once you're on that stage, it's like, oh man, hey, come hang out at my house, hey man, watch some movies, do some cocaine, whatever. I mean, it's a totally different thing.
You used to run up to Michigan and do that, and if you have a repetitive thing, a repetitive venue, then you actually start acquiring you'll have a fan base via social media now. Right. Yeah. But you'll travel to different places, and there are people oh yeah, fuck yeah, come hang out or whatever. And yeah, dude, I totally understand what you're saying. The same thing. It was called the Pigeonhole. I don't know.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Good?
I got to tell you a bass player story. Hold on. So look, we played this gig out in Thibodaux, which is a little Cajun town, but we had a great show. I mean, the place was packed. Early 90s metal scene, Thibodaux was freaking amazing. And anyway, we had this really great show. People were loving us. They're buying the tapes. They're buying the T-shirts. They're doing all this shit. Well, I was actually going to school in Thibodaux at the time, and so was my girlfriend at the time. Well, one night, probably about like a month after the gig, we were down there and we stopped at a little convenience store, and I had one of my band shirts on, from my band. And I went in the store, and I'm at the counter, and some dude goes, dude, where'd you get that shirt from, man? All this stuff. It's like, dude, I was there at that show, man. Those guys were badass. Had no clue I was the bass player. I just said, I got it from the guys in the band. He's like, oh, man, that's fucking awesome. And he's walking out telling his friend, dude, that dude's got one of their shirts,
You were wearing one of your own band shirts?
I was, because I probably didn't have anything else to wear at the time. I was a college kid. I was dirt poor, so it's like, oh, well, my only clean T-shirt is my band shirt, so fuck it, I'm wearing it.
You know what? I'm going to use the words. I'm going to go ahead and use the terminology.
Go ahead.
You know how gay that is, bro?
I know that it's very gay. It's retarded.
Dude.
I know it really is. But I don't know what the situation was. Normally, I would not do that. I know. I totally get it, but
we don't wear our own shit.
I know, and you don't wear the shirt of the band you're going to see in concert. I know.
No.
I know.
Fucking dang, God, gay. All right, so are you gonna have a beer with me before the night's over, or no? Are you going home? You're gonna go to bed?
No. Oh, I'm already home, but
yes.
I don't have to work tomorrow. I'm good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Hells yeah.
All right, well, you're gonna have to listen. Don't go anywhere. Do shout out to everybody and give something positive to tonight. Don't be a hater, but yet because there's some of us that can smoke.
Oh,
okay,
no,
don't be one of them guys. Don't be a fucking hater, but just share something like positive with everybody about tonight's topic. Okay, and I'm gonna let you go.
Well, one thing I was thinking about when you had Tammy on, was that, she was saying, hey, I smoke, cigarettes, fuck it, whatever. And it's like, look, man, we are, in the end, regardless of what we think about ourselves and regardless of what we try to accomplish in this life, we are only human. And the human condition, the human soul, mentality, body, can only take so much stress before it does need a relief, especially in America, dude. Americans are stressed out. So it's like, man, if you want to have a cigarette, if you want to smoke your weed, if you want to have a drink or something like that now and then, we used to have a saying growing up: you control the drug, don't let the drug control you. As long as you can do that, it's okay to relax now and then. It's okay if that's the way you need to go to relax. Then go ahead and relax for a minute, because we are all stressed out, and the things they put on TV and the things they shoot at us on the news and everything like that, it's just meant to stress us more, So take a break now and then. Take a breather. We're only human. We can only do so much. You can't carry the weight of the world, although we're expected to a lot of times. Take a break for yourself. try to enjoy a little bit of life, outside of the stress, and whatever that takes is fine. It's okay. You don't even have to apologize for it, especially us. We're all adults. We're all grown-ups. Most of us in this group are easily in our 40s and 50s, so we've done the whole life thing, and
Right.
we've done our shit. We've earned it. So y'all don't stress. Take it easy. Take a break now and then. We've all earned it.
I agree with you, bro. Don't stress. Do not stress your fart portal.
No,
or your sex port.
unless it's in a competition at a bar, in which case you kind of need to if you want to win.
Right. I totally get you. Absolutely.
We used to have fart contests, so anyway.
Well, we're getting old enough now. I think, I'll speak for every single individual in this broadcast chat. We're getting to the point now where if you literally try to like rake one out your ass, you better be careful, because that air might not be traveling alone. And with that note, bro, I will catch you on the other side of the broadcast with a beer, and I'm going to smoke with that beautiful wife of yours, and we're going to have a good night, and then we'll call it quits.
Sounds like a great time.
Thank you so much for being with me, James, and I'll catch you on the other side of the chat. All right?
All right, home slice.
All right, buddy, take care. And
You too, brother.
yeah, man, see y'all later,
All right,
James. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, gals and goons, yeah, man, now it's time. I do believe I'm going to try, go back over here, and I'm going to try to find a song that I has gotten, right? I was working on this song for quite some time, and finally got it out. I got Miss Kristen's approval. So this is the song. I sent her 2 songs, and she's like, this one here has got something magical about it. So I'm going to share with you a song I wrote, and AI come up with some really good. I went through so much. I probably went through, I don't know, $8, $10, maybe $12 worth of like credits here, trying to like have it help me generate content, because I'm picky. So these are the 2 versions. I'm going to go ahead and say these are the 2 versions of this song I come up with. Again, it probably took me around 3-4 weeks to really formulate it, get it down. It's quite long. However, I do hope that you find it very, I would say, I'm passionate. James is passionate about music. Larry's passionate about music. When we write, we put the passion into it. So again, shout out to you, Miss Kristen. Thank you, you beautiful soul, for giving me your advice on it. I think it sounds really good. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna leave you guys here with a song I wrote, and let me see if you can figure out the name of this song. With that being said, everybody, I will catch you on Friday night. I have no idea. I'm going to try to round up either Daryl Milbauer or my buddy Jody Lowe over down in Australia. I've been not putting him off, just had shit going on and not really been able to connect with him. But nevertheless, you guys, just guess the name of this song. All right, you guys, I will talk to you later, another day, another way. Take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. Peace out. I hope you enjoy this tunage. It took quite a little bit. So good night, everybody. Peace out.
Through the silence. Close my eyes to see again. Felt the universe shake beneath my skin. And now I know, yes, now I know. No more masks, no more games, just the soul.